Welcome to this week's episode of The Hard Rock Show. I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
Tim.
Good to have you all with us tonight. We'll get to the comments soon enough, so make sure you say hi to us if you're here tuning in, but we've got a bit to get through. So tonight we're going to review the latest from Ghost, New Horizon, and Incrypt, as well as go back to a classic from AC/DC. We're going to talk about the newest singles from Rammstein, Massive, Shotgun Mistress, and Porcupine Tree. Our hot topic tonight is about a minimum fee for local musicians playing a gig. We'll do a draft of our 10 favorite drinking songs. We'll also discuss quickly Dolly Parton rejecting the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And as always, we'll have the bin, audience interaction with the comments, all the usual stuff that we go on to. So all of that and more coming your way tonight. Before we get stuck into things, make sure you like, follow, subscribe, share, all the usual shit that everyone gets you to do. All the details of that are in the description box of the episode, whether you're tuning in now live or later on via video or audio. Just hit the description box. Find your preferred social media platform. Give us a like, a share, a follow. Any of that, it always helps us a great deal. And a big thank you, of course, to our fantastic sponsors in Squidding Screen Printing, Alt Cult, and Rockstar Finance. Their details, just like ours, are in the description box. So please find them, give them a like, a follow, a share as well. It'd be greatly appreciated by all of us here, as well as them, obviously. Quickly, just also going to plug our Patreon page as always. So please do check it out. If you'd be so kind, just to any bit of help you can give us there. It starts at $2 a month. Aussie dollars, which is fuck all. It's like 50 cents a week. If you can just chip in a little bit there, it helps us to get more done. It's in the comments now. I've just quickly put that in there, but it's also in the description box too. So all that sort of stuff there as well. But we invite your feedback, your comments, your thoughts as we go through tonight. If you are tuning in via Instagram, though, be aware that your comments don't come through on that platform to this platform here that we're using. It's a third-party interface. I don't quite fit together well. So if you want to jump into the comments and you're on Instagram, you can still watch us there, but you just have to jump to a different platform to make a comment. But now let's do the round. So, Dave, it's been an eventful week for both of you, actually. But, Dave, I'll start with you. How are you going?
Yeah, I'm good. For those who don't know, most of you probably won't, I'm in isolation. I'm fine, but both my kids have COVID. My son tested positive Sunday, and my daughter tested positive on Tuesday. Yeah. And I think today is Thursday. I have not been outside in a very long time. They're both okay. They have a little cough, a bit of a headache, but a couple of days on, they're fine. Just confined to their rooms, getting a bit isolated, but they're got plenty of stuff to watch on YouTube and DVDs and video games, and they've got some schoolwork, so they're keeping busy. Most of all, they're okay. Yeah. So but somehow me and my wife are dodging the bullet. We're not sick yet, but still taking some tests every now and then. Apart from that, contacting my boss, and he knows I'm off for a while, which I'm now spending most of my day watching Cobra Kai. I've finished season 1, season 2, noodling with the guitar while I'm watching it, so can't complain. Yeah. I have almost run out of beer, and lots of people have offered to drop stuff off, so that's cool. I will rely on people if I have to. But apart from that, can't complain. It could be worse.
It helps. It definitely helps having, a workplace that's understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
yeah. Can confirm it is Thursday, Dave. Just so
nice.
You that. Can confirm that for you. But yeah, no, we've said it privately. We'll say it publicly too. But yeah, we've always offered our support. So yeah, if you do need anything, just yell out and we'll help you out whatever we can. So you know that. But yeah, no, it's good to hear that everyone's doing pretty well overall. And obviously, you keep us more in the loop than the general public. But yeah, no, just again, best wishes to all, and hopefully the kids kick it in the ass sooner rather than later, and it's all done and dusted.
Thanks, mate.
Cool. All right, Tim, it's a big week for you for entirely different reasons. So how are you going today?
Oh, man, it's been hectic. Just plugging shit all day.
There's a good reason for that.
Yeah, so new album out with Arcane Saints. It's been I reckon we first recorded the first lot of demos probably 4 years ago.
Wow. I know it's been a while, but yeah, wow.
Yeah, so after going through every bass player in Melbourne and every fuck up imaginable, every lockdown, every thing that's fucked us up, finally released an album, and I'm very proud of it. I think it's the best thing that the band's ever done. I think it's the best. I'll consider myself very lucky if I ever do anything that good again. So I'm thankful to anybody who's ever listened to it today. And I hope I encourage everybody out there who hasn't listened to it to listen to it, because I'm certain there is something out there for anyone on that album.
Yeah, definitely true. Definitely true. But it's going well. The response is good so far.
The response has been great. Yeah, very because we're in a little bit of a bubble between myself, Mike, and Sheep, and the few people who've heard it, like Jamie, the bass player who played bass on it from Big Damn Orange, who's going to thank you very much, and Shane, who mixed and recorded it.
Yep.
And a couple of others, but I mean, we all thought it was great, but we were all in the bubble putting it together. So to find out that other people enjoy it is very humbling as well.
Yeah. No, we'll give it a bit more of a plug in a second, but yeah, I'm glad that the release is going well, and yeah, you spammed our chat today, and I told you I encourage you to keep doing it because people need to listen to this album. It's a fucking good one. So yeah, well done.
Cheers, man.
Cool. Not much to report my end. Just same old. Just working through everything that we got going on. We'll get to some. We'll discuss some things very, very shortly. That'll make some things a bit more. I'll have more context in a minute. But yeah, everything's good. Can't complain. I'm working where I need to work and doing what I can do with the show and getting stuff done for TV. The only hard thing this week is the TV deadlines got brought forward by about a day and a half, which kind of made things a bit more challenging for me. But so when we filmed the last one on Sunday, Dave, I then had to frantically get that finished by sort of Tuesday night. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to get that done.
All right.
Sorry.
Yeah. No,
I was a little bit drunk by the end of that. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I made it a bit hard.
No. It wasn't a problem. Like it's all good, but it was just one of those things where you're sitting there going, shit, that's why tonight is a bit later than usual. We didn't do it on Monday and stuff. And there's a few changes coming through, which I'll get to those things in a minute. But yeah, everything's good ultimately, for me personally. It's just one of those weeks where things didn't quite go to the usual plan, but everything worked out okay in the end, which is just all right by me. So yeah, everything's good. Everyone's happy, healthy, and well. Jodie, one of our daughters, are off at the footy tonight, so they're having a great old time over there. I mean, they're probably not overly thrilled with the scoreboard at the moment, but they'll be happy soon enough. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, it's been good. Just another week for me. I don't have any big news like you guys have, good or bad, to share. So it's just more of the same from me. Let's get to the comments though. So Nicole says, "Evening everyone, good to see you here. Good to see you again. As always, love having you with us. Same with Rowan. Good to see you again, buddy. Too. Thanks for joining us. Dean, I know why you're here. We're going to be hearing later on, but Dean's here going, hey guys, hope all is well and rock and looking forward to this. I know what you're looking forward to tonight. We'll get to that. Michael over on Facebook's going, hey all, good to see you again, buddy. Thank you for joining us. And the Metalhead Fox over on YouTube, good to see you. Not a regular, so nice. Very good. Thanks for joining us. Not hopefully you're enjoying what you see here. We're not really into it yet, but we'll be soon enough. Dean said about Dave, wow, hope your kids are okay and staying strong. This thing is a prick. Yeah, it's not going away anytime soon either. I don't think. We'll see what happens. Rowan says, congrats, Tim. As does
cheers, man.
Viking Girl over on YouTube. Thanks for joining us. They're saying awesome stuff, Tim. Way pleased for you. So that's awesome.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Nicole, glad to hear the kids are not suffering too much. Hugs to them. So there you go, Dave. More love for the kids there as well. And for Tim, Nicole also says it'll be a cracker album for sure, Tim. We'll check it out tomorrow. So there you go. There's more listening going on.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Conrad's here saying, hi, guys. So, yes, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for joining us once again. And Dean's going, great album, Tim. So there you go. And
thanks, Dean.
DB's going, are you a dad, Andrew? Yeah, I've got 3 kids. So a bit older than Dave's kids. But, yeah, they're doing what they're doing. They're all keeping well. So everyone's on my end. Good. That's why, yeah, one of our girls is out with my wife tonight at the footy. So they're having a good time tonight. So as far as I can tell anyway. I've got the sort of game just in the background just so I can sort of see the scoreboard. That's about it. Just to see what kind of mood they're going to be when they get home. That's about and I'm sure they'll watch the back later on and give me a crack at the back of there. But, yeah, there we go. But DB also says all the best, Dave. So there we go. Cool. All righty. So I'm just going to first off start with a bit of sad news, believe it or not, which I don't know how much you guys will be over this one, but there was a band way, way, way back in the first year of the show. So, 2011 kind of territory, where out of the US, I think from Rhode Island, if I remember correctly, a band called Canerco. They were one of the first bands to get on board with this, and it turns out that just the other day, their drummer, Nick Idden, passed away. So I just wanted to quickly acknowledge that and send our condolences to his family, his friends, his bandmates as well, because we've had a lot of interaction with them over the years. So I just wanted to, everyone that knew Nick, no one's got a bad word to say about the guy. It was always fun to interact with from my end. Not that it was a huge amount, but it was just something that was, it was always a happier sort of a person in the world. And then didn't quite work out. I'm not sure of the particulars. I don't really need to know the particulars, to be honest. Not my business, but just wanted to send condolences, thoughts, best wishes, all that sort of stuff to those that knew him and loved him and were impacted by this. So yes, just if you wanted to check out a little bit of what I'm talking about here, I'm going to put a link in the comments for the single I put out ages ago. The album, if you can find it, that this comes from, is a pretty fucking good album too. I'll have to go and dig it up and maybe do a retrospective review with the entirely new panel now, because I don't think anyone's listened to it apart from me and Shane from the show over the years. I have to get a bunch of us sort of sit there and listen to it again and do something a bit different in that regard. So maybe we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, there's a track there. It's Canerco, and the song is Five Across the Face. It's in the comments now. If you want to go and check it out now or later on, then please do. So if you're tuning in later, then the band is Canerco, Kanerko, and the song is Five Across the Face. You'll be able to find that on YouTube. It's not on all the streaming services. So there you go. Check it out on YouTube. And if you can find the album, check it out, because it's a fucking killer release. All right. Let's go back here a bit. Dean's gone, watching the game on my projector at home. Good game so far. Big crowd. Yeah, the crowd is fucking huge with these two. It always is. I'm going to try and pronounce this Kazahian, I think. Kazahian on Twitch. Good to see you. Going, hello, Hard Rock Show. Thank you for joining us. Good to see you. Love having more people on the Twitch platform. We don't get a lot over there, but yeah, any new followers or viewers get interacting with us there, awesome. So thanks for joining us over on Twitch. Metalhead Fox says, congrats, Tim. Saw the new clip last night. Awesome stuff. So there we go.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And Dean says, fuck, condolences, because he's one of the few that remembers the band. So there we go. Because we did play them on the show way back. So yeah, I know that Dean's been watching us for quite some time. So he'd be one of the few, I reckon, watching this tonight that would know that band like that off the top of your head. All right, on to happier things. We've already sort of plugged it, but Tim and Arcane Saints have released the new album, This Is Primal, today. So we're giving it another plug here, just a quick one. And we've been sort of talking a bit about it. We're going to do something different with this, which I'll get to in a second. But Dave, your first sort of impressions, it's not a review, just the first impressions of the album. We've discussed amongst ourselves, but just sort of share with the people out there.
Yeah, gave it 3 or 4 spins in the afternoon, just mellowing out in the afternoon because it's been crazy life recently. But yeah, it's such an easy listen. I mean, there's some heavy themes in the lyrics and there's some beautiful guitar melodies. If you're thinking Shades of the Juniper, it's completely different. Like, it's a light and shade compared to that. It's not as heavy, but there can be heavy moments, which is cool. I wish I could say I knew song titles so I could say this song is that, but I don't. But as a full listen, it's very cool. There is one that I refer to as the fuck song, because it's probably the only song with some swearing. I'm pretty sure it's called Tonight, and I think Tim confirmed it earlier. But that's a pretty cool song. It's got a bit of attitude to it. But yeah, excuse me. No. But yeah, if you're a fan of this band or if you haven't heard this band before, this is definitely an album you should be jumping on because it's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I'm just quickly pulling things up here because Turning the Tide was the last album from this band in 2013. Yeah, that was cool. And Shade of the Juniper was the 2016 EP, but that was like 22 minutes when their albums are about 30 minutes. So it's almost another album from the band in that little EP segment there. But
it's a 6-song EP.
Yeah,
it's relatively long.
It's a pretty long one. But the new one today, This Is Primal, I was saying, like, because Tim's obviously very proud of it and with good reason. But I've been listening to this band since the show started. Arcane Saints were the first band we ever actually interviewed. It's a shitty fucking bit of footage. It's black and white, grainy as all shit. The back of a bar, fucking no light, no sound, nothing. It's somewhere. But it was one of those things where you do it and you learn from it. But yeah, Arcane Saints were the first band sort of get involved from the local scene here in Melbourne to do things with. And so I've been following them for a while. And Tim's made a point of trying to, make this sort of, to them, it's the most mature or well-rounded release, and I would agree with that. There's absolutely no filler on this thing. It's not a full-blown review. We'll get to that in a minute, but this is just a really cool album. If you like, there's some catchy stuff, there's some darker stuff. It's got a bit of everything from this band, but there's nothing dud about this at all. If you want a half hour of good music, check this one out because it's got everything. It's got your riffs, your hooks, some meat on the bone. Dave was mentioning lyrical stuff as well. Like there's a bit of everything here, and it's funny how the single Satellites, that's one of the ones that actually stayed with me. I reckon that was a really good choice for a single in the end because that hook is fucking fantastic. But you got different ones in there, like Melbourne City. You've never done a song like that before. Nothing that stripped back.
That was cool.
Different. But also Rivers, which I think one of our regulars watches or liked that one as well. But yeah, you got everything on here. This is really, really cool. Starts off great with Drowning as well. Like this is a really good album from start to finish, and there's a lot of different sort of mood swings on there too. So yeah, if you like just good rock music, rock to hard rock, hard rock, get onto it because this is fucking well worth your time. And for a half hour listen, I was able to spin this one probably more times than Dave today, I reckon. I listened to this about 4 times or more. I also went back and listened to Turning the Tide and Juniper as well, just sort of got some context as where this sits. And I reckon this is the perfect sort of natural progression for where this band has been over the last few years in particular. But yeah, this fits. It just sits really nicely, this one. This is like I don't know if you've peaked yet, but it's a nice sort of crest kind of a moment for you guys. So yeah, this is a really good album. I look forward to giving it a full-blown review very, very soon. So there you go. There's some love for you, Tim.
Cheers, man. Appreciate it.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Now, what do we got here? So Dean asks, who did the album cover, Tim? Great fucking cover of Melbourne City. So where did that come from? That is a good cover too.
It was just a local photographer who we found on Instagram, and we asked if we could buy the photo for an album cover. And he agreed for it. He agreed to it and gave us a price and let us use it.
Nice. Beautiful. There you go. Awesome. Here we go. TC's joined us. He's going, hi, guys. Congrats, Tim, on the new album. Haven't had a chance to give it a listen yet, but it's been a hectic week. I'll fix that soon. So there you go. TC.
Good to see you, man.
Awesome. Michael was also jumping in saying congrats on the new album, Tim. So there we go. More
Thank you very much.
And Darren has the question. Can you buy physical copies, Tim? I know the answer.
No. This is a New Age Millennial release. Available on all streaming platforms.
Are you in thoughts of doing anything physical at all, or is just wait and see at this time? Nah, fair enough. No, that's cool. Make more money out of t-shirts anyway. All right.
Yeah, exactly. Like t-shirts and plugging and radio shit. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. All right. So this is a good little chance here to sort of flag some changes we're doing to the way we're going to broadcast things a bit. These streams, just so everyone knows, I'll be doing more of this later on, but the Patreon crowd already know this stuff too. But on Wednesday nights, we're going to be doing the live stream of the week. So Wednesday nights, we're doing the Hard Rock Show as a live stream. I'm going to move all this to a Wednesday night. We'll have one Australian release, one classic release, and 2 newer ones for that week. That's what's going into the Wednesday night sessions coming up now, along with a bunch of singles. So what you're seeing tonight is pretty much the new format that's going to be taking place from our actual live streams. The deep cut session isn't being axed per se. It's just going to go to a non-live stream like this sort of platform. We're going to change it up to a bit more episodic and a bit different, and it's going to be a bit easier for us to produce overall because a couple of live streams a week it's doable, but it's a lot to take in, and this is about trying to get better and ultimately get more done as opposed to locking in too many hours and you're chuckling away there, Tim.
So it's just like we have lives.
Yeah, that's basically it's challenging. It's really challenging. And so we love the live streaming aspect. What we're going to do is, for example, so Arcane Saints have the new album out. We're going to actually sit down and interview the band, review the album, and then maybe a couple other bits and pieces. And that'll be a deep cuts format. Dave and I were talking before. Tim was running late, so he missed this part. But we were talking before about how we're going to try and add things that make it a bit more episodic in feel and flow. So there'll be things from week to week that'll flow over from one thing to the next to get a bit more of that sort of a serial kind of a feel to it as well. So there's some changes coming there, but it's all going to be good stuff, and we're going to get more done content-wise behind the scenes if we're not committing X amount of hours per week to the live stream side of things. So it'll still be broadcast like we do these ones. So it'll be showing that it's live, even though it's pre-recorded, because I can upload to this platform and then broadcast it. But just as a heads up to everyone, we're going to be making a few changes, but it'll all make sense and it'll be for the best in the end, and you'll all see how and why that'll make sense soon enough. But just a quick little heads up there for people that have, so the schedule's been all over the joint. This year, we just haven't been able to quite get things as lined up as easily as we would like to. For some reason, it's just been, since November last year, I reckon it's been just fucking hectic. It's been more hectic than usual. We've all been sort of trying our best to get it all smooth, but it's not quite as easy as it seems, unfortunately. So we are just sort of rolling with the punches and making a couple of changes to make life a bit easier overall. So there you go.
Yeah.
Just a quick little heads up for everyone there. Alrighty. Metalhead Fox has said, got it on my Spotify playlist now. So there you go, Tim. Another listener for your album there. So
thank you very much, mate.
Check it out and let us know what you think of the album too. If you've got any favorite tracks when you've checked it out, make sure you let us know. We've got a post up early today about just plugging the album. So maybe head over to that one if you're not here tonight on the chat. And let us know what your favorite ones are there. Here we go. Speaking of, Darren, good to see you. Darren jumped in to say Melbourne City is a nice little ditty. So there you go. It's a good track.
Mate.
It is different to anything these guys have done before. And I really enjoyed that they took a bit of a chance and showed some growth, which is really, really cool. Alrighty. Let's get stuck into some singles. And we'll leave the one that Tim hasn't gotten to until the end because we've got the expert for that one with us anyway. So that's all good. Let's start off with the newest from Rammstein, which is the track Zeit. That is in the description box. All the bands we're talking about are in the description box. They're also in the comments as we go along. So Rammstein, Zeit, it's linked in the comments. It's in the description box as well. So please do check it out and let us know what you think of this one. And I've got the randomizer right actually tonight. So I'm going to start with using the randomizer and just see who gets to go first on what, just to keep things interesting and continuity. And Dave, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, it's different to what I've heard from Rammstein before. It certainly starts out very mellow and a cappella.
Yeah.
At least for the first 3 minutes, and then some distorted chords kick in, but it's not the expected industrial onslaught that you would get from this band. It's very paced and methodical. No idea what the lyrics are about because it's in German, obviously, but you get the mood and the vibe from what he's doing. I go back and forth with Rammstein. Occasionally, I'll hear Links 234. I'm like, this is fucking cool. I love this. Why don't I listen to more Rammstein?
Yeah.
No, I listen to Du Hast. I'm like, what's this fucking digital shit? So Rammstein go back and forth for me, but this is pretty cool. It's a good listen. It's good to hear something different from this band, and I'm curious to know what if it's going to be more like this on their album, if it's going to be more like what they used to. I don't really follow them, so I don't know where they're at. But yeah, overall, it's an interesting song.
Yep. How'd you go, Tim? Because you and I are both fans of this band. So how did you find this one?
I like it, and I mean, if you listen to their full catalog, they do have songs like this in them.
Yeah, this one reminds me a little bit. Did you get the Simon vibe from?
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Yep.
Yeah, very much like that. However, it is a very interesting choice for a first single.
Yeah.
That's where the bit gets curious because it's not your typical Rammstein hard four on the floor, big melody, big riff kind of thing. Very much a sit back and I don't want to call it a ballad because it's also very intense in its own way.
Yeah.
Which I mean, this band does very well.
Yeah.
So it's left me very curious to hear more, and I'm very excited for a new album. Which, honestly, for a first single, that's that's the goal, really. So, I'm loving it. I'm looking forward to more.
Yeah. Now, I'm a huge fan of this band. I have been from way back, and it's funny, Tim, you mentioned the same thing that I was thinking, because on the last album, just the self-titled album, or the untitled album officially, but the lead single was Deutschland, and that just was a huge epic banger of a track. And this one's still a longer track, but it's much more on the ballad side of what they do. And Dave, just for context, when you think of or if anyone else out there for that matter too, if you think of Rammstein and you think of Du Hast, that's actually, it's pretty funny for me how emblematic that song is of this band, but it's really not representative of the catalog. Okay. Yeah,
I think you get more links. They're more links than Dual Hearts.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Much more links, especially
like links, Firefly. Those kind of songs are more your standard Rammstein songs.
Dave, check out the Mutter album. If you don't get hooked by Mein Herz Brent, then
what a great track!
It's such a great song.
Great.
Yeah, but
Mein Herz. I gotta make sure I got the order right.
Yeah.
But the 3 albums in a row from Mutter, Rise, Rosenrot, one after the other is just perfect.
Yeah, but also like that Mutter album is probably my favorite, but the Untitled one is probably on par with that for me. But I love the track Deutschland. Like there's so much we could do a whole segment on these guys alone, as far as I'm concerned. But this song, for me, the new single, it's more like what you've got. Like there's a track on Mutter, the self-titled, the title track of that album is a very deep and interesting sort of ballad. And this isn't even quite in that territory. This is a different beast entirely. It has a bit of everything they've done over the years in this track. And it's really curious how they've led with this one, because they usually lead with an absolute banger. This one's pretty removed, but there's a definite, I haven't gone through and I haven't listened to it properly enough to fully comprehend the lyrics, because it takes me a few spins I can understand a lot of it, but just need a few more to get the full context right. But the visual of the video is fucking stunning, combined with the song. But yeah, like they do their video so well.
I was gonna say, I haven't actually watched the video yet, so I should get to that.
No, watch the video; it's good. But it's all gone. Yeah, it's got some comments here on Rammstein too. But I have a lot of love for these guys. The new album is due late April, I think April 29. I think this is the title track as well. So Zeit is what you're looking for. But but this is just such a really interesting choice for a lead single, that if you're a fan at this point in time, I don't think they're trying to win anyone over. They're not trying to take over the world. They're doing what they want to do. And if you're a fan, this will make you happy. And if you're not, I think it should do enough to make you a bit more curious. So yeah, Dave, Du Hast is really not the reference track for this band anymore. Yep. Even on the Herzeleid, the debut album, I think there's a lot more on that would be more interesting to you. They probably lean to the electronica side of things more, but yeah, no, there's a lot more to them, Dave. Check them out.
Worth deep diving.
Yeah.
And Du Hast is like how do I put it? Like the you know that like
it's the Enter Sandman and Metallica's catalog.
Yeah.
It really is.
Well, actually, Nothing Else Matters.
Yeah. That's the one that everyone,
like nothing sound like people who hear Nothing Else Matters and think that's Metallica.
Yeah. Yeah. Engel on that album too is fucking fancy. Fuck, I'm gonna go off on a rant. I'm gonna stop. But yeah,
even Mine Hurts Brett. Like I wouldn't call not the guitar solo, right? But that little leady bit just before the last chorus.
Mm-hmm.
It's so simple. It's like 4 notes.
Yeah. But
it's so dramatic in the context of the song. It's just perfect.
And I love the strings in it too. Like it's just just the way the strings play off against the note choices of the guitar. Like fuck, okay. They're
a band that does note choices very well.
Yes, and that's what gives them the intensity. It's not all about blunt impact, and that's what this song has too. Just for the record, the new one, Zeit, has a lot of, and you're hearing Till sing much more as the years go on, and I actually really enjoy what he's doing with his tone and delivery too. So definitely check it out. You got 2 hardcore fans that are fucking in love with it. So we'll see how it goes. Dave didn't mind it, which is good. So there we go. Dean says, bit different from them, from what I've heard. You know who it is straight away, especially the vocals. Need them to come to Australia ASAP. Had the pleasure of seeing them before. Yes, they need to come back.
Yeah.
Definitely need to come back. I want to see that show again. That was fucking amazing. Darren says 7 million views in a week. No matter what you think of this band, they have some fucking power. And they don't do any media at all, these guys. None. They don't do interviews. They don't do shit.
They're one of the premier rock and roll bands of the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I'm not sure they're at the forefront of people's minds when people think that. But they are absolutely one of the heavyweights of hard rock.
Yep.
And I think that might actually be because we're in Australia and they don't tour here often.
Yeah.
We don't have them in our sort of media cycle.
Maybe, yeah.
But I can guarantee you, like, if they announce a tour tomorrow, they're going to be fucking everywhere.
Yeah. Definitely. All right. So Michael has said, I like the new Rammstein, but would love to see what the rest of the new songs will sound like. I completely understand that, but yeah, it's good. Metalhead Fox has gone America. That was a great song too.
Oh, great. Brilliant film clip too.
It is a fucking great clip. Michael says, Dean, I think part of the reason they don't tour here is due to their stage production and how much it would cost to transport here. That's at least one thing I'd heard as to why they haven't toured here yet. They have been, I think, twice.
Twice, and both with a big day. Both times with a big day out.
Yeah, and it was a long time ago now. Like that, they haven't come here as a standalone tour, but
it was the last time was I think 2008 or 2009 around there.
It was a while ago, but yeah, I wish.
And not just that, like the whole band are living all over the world now as well. So
yeah, they are, and they've got other projects too. Most of them as well. So
yeah.
And they've made a commitment to each other that Rammstein will only be when they're all feeling it. Otherwise they just go on their own thing, and they didn't get successful until their sort of 30s. So
isn't that the life though?
It is. Fuck it.
They've made enough money where they don't actually have to do anything.
Yeah, they're just doing what they want to do. Well played to them. But I guess that shows you just how big and powerful they are when it comes, to what they are able to do with themselves and their life. So they're very, very smart across all facets. Darren says, even if you don't know German, the Du hast lyrics are pretty easy to mimic, so that would help with familiarity and catchiness. That's true. Conrad says, I don't have or know any Rammstein records, but saw them at Milton Keynes Stadium in the UK 2019. It was one of the biggest live shows I've ever seen, as big as Metallica or AC/DC, Iron Maiden, a stadium show, if not bigger. More flames and fireworks than I've ever seen before. The flames wrap all the way around the stadium, not just on the stage. Yes, they go all out on the pyro. It's fucking nuts. Tim says, Mein Land was an awesome song and video. Another great song that I absolutely adore, which is twisted as fuck, is Mein Teil. Mein Teil is a great one, but also Ich tue weh. That's fucking killer, that song. Oh, fucking hell. I'm going to go off. But yeah, Conrad says, saw them the last time they were here, but the show now is 10 times bigger. Yeah, it would be a lot bigger now. Good luck bringing that whole thing out. All right. Let's move on to an Aussie/German band now. Let's change gears and go to the latest from Massive. Just going to keep that, we're going to segue from Germany to Australia. The next band after this will be Australia, and then we'll go somewhere else after that. But this is the latest from Massive with the single Reset. So it's in the description box. It's in the comments now as well. So check it out. Let us know what you think. I don't think there's any album or anything. It's just a single that's been announced or been released along with some tour dates. So go and check it out if you're a fan of the band or you just want to see some good old-fashioned hard rock, Aussie pub rock kind of thing, then this is a band you should get onto and check out in general anyway. But this is the new single, Reset. And Dave, we'll start with you again with the randomizer going off.
Sweet. Yeah, it's always good to hear new music from Massive. And, pretty good song, straight up rock and roll, as you said. Ticks all the right boxes, got a bit of a memorable chorus. But ultimately, when I finished listening to this, I wanted to put Full Throttle on. It's been a while since I've heard it, and I absolutely love that album. But every song on that album was fantastic. This is pretty good, but it kind of reminded me of days gone by. So, yeah. But ultimately, it's a cool song. It's sharp rock and roll. What more do you want?
Yep. Cool. Tim, what about you?
First of all, Brad, if you do see this, I'm very jealous of your Fozzy gig.
Yes.
So please enjoy that one for me.
Yeah.
Reset, actually, in hindsight, feels like an appropriate title for this song because for me, this does sound like a little bit of a shift. And for me, I actually quite liked it. I think it's a shift. I think it's a bit more. Obviously, it sounds like Massive. And again, second side note, Brad's voice is almost unrecognizable here. I think he sounds fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
But for me, there's almost like a mid 2000s kind of, almost like a Vines vibe to it.
Yeah, there's a very the hookiness of it.
Yeah, like that sort of strummy guitar with a hook over the top of it, but played in the scope of a Massive song. Like, it still sounds like Massive, but it sounds like Massive being a bit more strummy rock and roll as opposed to pub rock.
Yeah.
Which for mine is a nice shift. I think that's a good segue for the band and a good way for them to explore new sounds while still sounding like Massive and serving their audience. So I think this is a good song from them. Yep.
This is one that took me a minute, like, because it's a good song, but it took a second to grow on me a bit. It wasn't one of those ones where the first spin sort of makes you locked in straight away. It's one of those ones where you hear it and you go, cool. But then you come back to it. And the more you listen to it, the more you appreciate, without sounding mean, but the simplicity and how effectively written this song is. The hook is great. It's really interesting in hindsight that Brad had been working on the song and the video behind the scenes for quite some time. And then, circumstances happen as they do in Europe at the moment in particular, and the video and the song suddenly take on a bit more context and a different bit of weight to them as well, because, when he's got lyrics and they're saying the end of the world doesn't please me, a lot of us have been a bit afraid of that over the last few weeks. That's kind of it just one of those serendipitous kind of little things. But I think that if you're a fan of the band, it's a bit of a gear change, but not a huge one. I understand what Dave said, that it makes you want to go back a little bit to the old days, but at the same time, for me, I got that nostalgia, but also like what Tim said, that the strum, that strummy kind of vibe more so than the gonna rip your balls off kind of a vibe was. And it's not a laid back track at all. Don't make the mistake thinking this is a laid back song. It's not. It's got plenty of balls about it, but it's just one of those ones where it really leans into the hook, and it's one of those ones where it's just a simple, straightforward song. But once it gets under your skin a bit, it's actually really infectious. And the thing is that it gets stuck in your head really, really quick. Like, this is, you can hear that chorus straight away from me. I think Brad sounds great. The band sound good. I think the only knock on the song is there's a bit of a clunkier part where there's a bit of layering of the backing vocals. It didn't quite get nailed for mine. It's just a bit of a clue out of the song kind of moment, but it's just very, very small critique. Just generally speaking, if you like a catchy rock song, but it's not like, silly catchy. It's just got a really good hook. So I think it's really well done. But at the same time, yeah, it's just a good song. At the same, I can understand. Like I said, though, for me, it was one of those ones that took a couple of spins for it to really sink its teeth in. So give this one a bit of time. Don't just give it one spin and discard it if it doesn't grab you. Give it a couple of goes and see you go with it after that. But yeah, I enjoyed it as well. Looking forward to more from the band because they always put out cracking albums. So let's just see what comes out next. I'm looking forward to more. And yeah, like Tim was saying, good luck on the Fozzy tour. That it's going to be a fucking cracking set of shows coming up. And hopefully it all goes well for you when you get out here as well. So there we go. Alrighty. Got a couple of comments on that one. So TC's gone, been a fan of Massive, but this single didn't do much for me. It sounds like a Green Day leftover. I do get the Green Day vibe a little bit. Don't know if I'd be as harsh as TC there, but I do get the Green Day.
See, when I say strummy, I mean like they're playing with the same aggression. They're just not choking down on the palm mute as much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like don't think it's a Clash track all of a sudden,
No. It still sounds like Massive. That's the key thing. It's just that that's actually probably bang on.
They're emoting it a bit more than before.
Yeah. Less palm mute, more hook, still plenty of balls. So it's very, very cool. But there we go. But Dean, on the flip side, goes, great fucking tune by Brad and the lads. Can't wait for more when they come back to Oz later in the year. Well done, Brad. So there we go. Bit of one side each way of the coin there on that. All right. Time to go to another band from Melbourne that we adore here. And this is the latest from Shotgun Mistress. The song is May She Never Walk Alone, which is actually from the self-titled 2021 album, but this is an unplugged acoustic version. So I think there's a series of these songs coming up in the near future, but this is Shotgun Mistress, May She Never Walk Alone, Unplugged. If you're tuning in later on, just go and search for that. Otherwise, in the comments or the description box as well. So let's do the randomizer. Tim, you get to go first this time.
Yeah, it's a very good song. First of all, but a good choice to do for this kind of a release for the Unplugged version. Yep. And the thing is with these guys, like I know I've got to know these guys relatively well the last couple of years, and one thing is when you're doing an unplugged track, there's nowhere to hide. You need to actually know how to play your instrument. You need to be a good singer, and you need to know how to arrange your instrument in a way that's not going to overpower things. And I think this is a really good track to showcase just how good these guys are as a band, how good they are individually. I thought Matt's guitar work towards the end of the song was fucking fantastic. Vocals stand out. Drums were used very tastefully and very gorgeously. Backing vocals as well. So things are fantastic. I think this is an excellent release. And if they're going to do more songs like this, then I think this is a good environment for them. So very good listen.
Cool. Dave, what about you?
Yeah, this is great. I love this band. I love this song. It's nice to hear a stripped back song of one that was a standout on the album. And it's not just that they're playing an acoustic version of what was on the album. The arrangement's been tweaked slightly, and I think that brings out a lot more of the emotion behind this song. The addition of strings in the chorus, I thought that was a nice touch. You had to do something to substitute for the distorted guitar chords, and I thought using strings just works very, very well. It can be very powerful with strings. And God love the vocal performance on this. The singer's amazing. But if you like the song or you never heard this band before, it's a good place to start. Band's really good.
Yeah, like you, this was the original track, was one of the highlights on the record for me. I thought it was a fantastic one near the back end of it. But the way this plays out into the acoustic or the unplugged setting is incredibly well done. It's not just, like Tim said, it's not just, do the same song again. They've rearranged this one, added the strings in, like Dave mentioned there. And Nicole's got a comment here I'm going to echo. I think this is probably better than the album version, to be honest. It's just one of those songs that just leans into that whole setting. It'd be curious how they go with other tracks that they've got. But this song in this setting is just, I mean, if you understand the story behind the song, it's about someone who passed away. It's very, very poignant, very, very heartfelt. And as Tim said, you don't get anywhere to hide. And when it's a really emotive track, the pressure is even more on, because if you don't nail it, it's going to come off half-baked. And they've not only nailed it, they fucking smoked it, knocked out of the goddamn park. This is, if you want an acoustic-based track, there's more to it. There's still got some electric lead work in there, and the drums, like Tim said, are used nicely as well. But the addition of strings and the atmosphere on this one, the whole thing is just a really well-done emotive performance, and it serves the song beautifully well. If anything, like I said before, it makes it better than what was on the album originally. I did go back and sort of A-B these ones. I compared them one to the other one, and it's the same song, but the rearrangement is wonderful, and I just thought the version they've done here is brilliant and well done all around on this. And if there's more to come like this, then fuck, I'll be keen to hear more, because this is real. I don't want them to change their entire style to go from, the debut album is fucking fantastic, so yes, go for it. But having this string in their bow, fuck yeah, I'm all for it. It's really well done. So more please. Just, whatever you can give us, I'll take it. But these guys are fantastic. So everything they've done is great. That's another solid, strong, stellar, actually, addition to their catalog. So check this one out and give us your thoughts as well. Getting a lot of love for this one, though, in the comments. Michael's gone, absolutely love the new Unplugged Shotgun Mistress track. Gutted I missed their gig with Electric Mary at Musicland recently, as it looked to have been a great night for them. So, yes, there we go. But Nicole said, I think this version is actually better if that's possible. So there we go. More there. Dean says, great unplugged version from them. Great rock and roll band. Album 2 on the way. Great guys. They are lovely to talk to as well. So look after them, support them however you can. And Michael says, I think making this track acoustic based made it more dramatic for the lyrical content, which gave me goosebumps when I first heard this version. Well, there we go. There's some great love for that one there. Alrighty. Changing gear. As always, let's go to the latest from Porcupine Tree. And Tim's going to go and just sort of sit there and watch us talk for a minute, Dave, because Tim hasn't had a chance to check this one out yet. He only just literally got in the door right as we were starting to go live. So he's one track.
What can I take a guess?
Yeah.
It's good.
Well, give it a minute and you'll find out. But in the links in the description box, you've got Porcupine Tree is the band. The new track is Of the New Day. That's what we're going to talk about now. And Dave, you're a resident Porcupine Tree expert, so what'd you make of it?
Yeah. With every Porcupine Tree release, you're really not sure what you're going to get. Is it going to be prog metal or is it going to be prog rock? Well, this is on the prog soft rock side of things. It's very mellow.
Yeah.
This is slower than your average Pink Floyd song. But the lyrics are very honest.
Though, man.
What's that?
It builds. It does build.
It does. Yeah. Start off. But the lyrics quite honest and very melancholy. Not as blatantly helpless as Silent Skies, but a bit dark and a bit menacing. But that's cool. But I wouldn't pick this as the same band that gave us Fear of the Blank Planet, which is one of my favorite albums from this band. But this band will keep you guessing. And as you mentioned, it does build and develop as it goes on. I think it's about 6 minutes, but it's pretty good. If you're into this type of stuff, you'll enjoy it. If it's not going to sway your opinion on this band. But yeah, it's a cool song. I'm looking forward to the album.
It's different to the previous single, isn't it? Like the previous single was a lot more. It wasn't aggressive, but it had more bite to it, and it was more artistic and atmospheric. This one's much more melancholy, like you were saying. But what I found interesting in the way they put this one together was the note choice with the way the electric guitar built and added a dissonance to the song, a bit of tension in there with the way it set off against the melody and the main sort of almost synth-like structure going on underneath. So this guitar builds this pressure wall behind it, which is a really nice bit of tension. Added almost like a post-grungy kind of effect to what was going on. But the lyrics are heartfelt and emotive. So it all has this not an overly happy song. So it's all really building into an interesting direction. I want to hear where this one sits in the context of the album. So if this is sort of like at the midpoint of the album, then you're going to I think you'd be in for a really interesting ride on it. It's a different track from them. I don't know as much about them as you do, Dave, but yeah, they do always do something different. You're never going to get the same thing twice. But this one, like the two singles combined, have made me really, really curious about what this album's going to do. It's due out at the end of June. Forget the full name of it. It's Continuum is one of the words in the title of it. I forget. Sorry, I didn't make a note of it beforehand. But no, it's a good song. It's one of those ones again where it takes a bit to grow on you, because my first instinct was, okay, it's a bit softer. But once you understand the tension being built with the guitar work in there, I thought that actually made a big dramatic difference to how you appreciate the song and adds that bit of extra weight to what's going on lyrically and melodically in this one too. So it's a bit of a grower song, but I really did enjoy this one. Like I said, it's made me very curious for the album, because between the two singles, very different tracks, and I want to hear how it all comes together as a complete piece. So yeah, very curious. I'm very, very interested. And Nicole's gone Pink Floyd sounding, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a big fan of Pink Floyd myself. So there we go. Probably one of those things that will get my attention relatively quickly. Anyway, Sally's here. Sally's gone, hey guys, good to see you, Sally.
Yeah.
Good to see you again. So thank you for joining us. Conrad, love Porcupine Tree. The amazing band Steve Wilson is ridiculously talented. Saw them a couple of times out here. Amazeballs is incredible. So there we go. I haven't had the pleasure. Have you seen them, Dave? Seen them live?
No, never.
Wow. Okay. Never. They're a bucket list kind of a band, I think.
You also mentioned the great Gavin Harrison behind the kit.
Yes. And I think Tim, I think you will like this one, because the drumming in it does have a lot to do with the way the song is structured and the tension built in it too. So yeah.
He's very good at that type of stuff.
Yeah. No, that was a very big important part of it. So yes, definitely agree with that. Nicole says, very Pink Floyd sounding to me. I'd stick on Random in the cafe set list. So there we go. Cool. That works as well. Alrighty. Let's get on to a hot topic. We'll try and do these ones a little bit quicker, and then we'll get on to the reviews and get the fuck out of here. The hot topic has been one that's been sort of going around a little bit now. And there has been some movement on this, and this is to do with, in Melbourne, in Victoria, a minimum fee of, I think, $250 being established, I think it's per musician, for certain segments of live music. It's funded by the Victorian government at this stage. But this is kicked off a wider debate, led predominantly by Chris, who runs Melbourne Musos, which is another great community television program. But he's advocating very strongly for, basically any and all bands to get $250 per member per gig thing. It's be interesting to see what people think of this as a concept. Let's go to you first, Dave. The randomizer loves you tonight.
Nice. Machines usually hate me. I'm not familiar with this very much, so I'm just going to give some personal thoughts. But is it subsidized by the government?
There are certain sectors. There's like a certain bracket has been subsidized by the government. Now there's a bit of a push for it to go wider. So,
okay. Because if it's not coming directly out of venues' pockets, it's definitely a good thing. I can see why some bands should get paid 100%, but I can see why some venues might have a problem with being able to afford what they do now. If they're not, if they have to dish out $250 per band member, okay, that's just keeping venues open. But absolutely, bands should get paid, and each member $250. That's pretty cool. So I think it's a great idea.
It's an interesting one. I think it's a bit more challenging than that. But Tim, you got any thoughts on that?
Oh man.
Here we go.
Now, okay, so if the state government is shelling out $250 for a guy to, busk with a guitar on Collins Street for 3 hours, I think that's a good idea.
Yep.
Now, I thought for the longest time, I always had this idea of trying to unionize musicians in Melbourne. And sort of working with venues in order to get people paid. The trouble with it is that I don't know if we're generating enough income to make a full-time living. So, like with the exception of, playing with international artists, right? I can tell you right now, like I've played probably 2 gigs in the last 5 years. Granted, there's been COVID where, like as a headline band, we've done really well money-wise, right? Yep. And that was the Them Orange single launch, our album launch, and the Arcane Saints Something Real single launch, Cherry. But again, that was, one had 160-something people, one had 200 people. Big shows that had built up to, but even then, I don't think we would have gotten $250 per band member. Because you got to pay your support bands. There's other costs that go towards doing that night. You got to pay for promotion. You got to pay for posters. You got to pay for ads. You got to, those orange and black vinyls didn't come for free.
Yeah.
Those T-shirts aren't free. We still got to pay for those.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, but that's the difference between a hobby band and a professional band. We're all talking about with Orange. If we could do that 7 nights a week, we could all quit our jobs. But unfortunately, we can only do it once every couple of years. So it would be nice, but again, I just don't. Because if you think of your average venue, let's say they're doing a gig. You have 4 bands a night, 3 to 4 guys per band. That's all of a sudden thousands upon thousands of dollars that you're showing out for music. And at that point, people are just going to go, fuck it, get a DJ.
That's it. Yep.
In which case, I think, you're cutting you're cutting off your own revenue source then in your own way to getting. So it'd be nice. I think the greater issue is more that the bigger issue is as a society, that.
Yeah.
The bigger issue is a society issue is that we're very much. It's a sink or swim supply and demand economy, and as a musician, there's just not there's more musicians than there are the ability to consume music. So those at the very top are going to get paid, and those at the bottom are going to struggle to get paid. So until that aspect of society changes, then we're going to be struggling.
It's a nice idea. I failed to see how it can be practically implemented under that format that's being proposed now, where it's, X amount of dollars per person, per gig. If you got 15 members, 3 bands, 5-piece bands on a gig, that's a fucking ridiculous amount of money.
Mate, I got a friend in Adelaide who plays in a band called Prophets of Impending Doom.
Yeah.
And they're a 9-piece ska band.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
so where does this stuff sort of, begin and end? Like, if it, like what you said at the beginning, if it's like a busker on Collins Street or in Fed Square, that makes sense because that's bringing something to the vibe of the city overall. If it's going to be...
And it means the busker no longer has to rely on people dropping coins.
Exactly, yeah. That to me is where that is better off going. When it comes to your average pub gig, there's a reason why you have to cut your teeth. One, if you're just going to get a guaranteed paycheck, this is going to sound really mean, but it probably disincentivizes people to work a bit harder, to get better overall kind of thing, to go for those bigger slots, to be the one that gets those support gigs and all that kind of stuff, to grow yourself. Because it is a capitalistic economy or whatever else have you. But the flip side to this argument is that I think that overall this would be better worked out if it'd be a monumental change in Australian society, which is not going to come anytime soon. But if we could do things like have something along the lines of a universal basic income or a livable payment from government if you show you are working XYZ amount of hours or times.
Or a basic needs guarantee or something like that.
Yeah, and I think that would improve the arts better than having this sort of a fee, which, whilst it might be subsidised from the government, there's no way a venue's going to cover this. You can't get the Bendy, the Music Land, the Cherry Bar, and they're not going to even go close. That'll put them out of business. They would not put music on at all. They go back to pokies or DJs. That'd be it. So it's I think for me, this is a different conversation. It changes a bit because I would think that you'd have to, because what Tim said, when it comes down to supply and demand, it's just not there. You can't justify a venue being asked to pay that to a
man. Like I remember, but even just different things. Like, so I remember I was talking to a cousin of mine, and he's big into like dance music and hip hop. Right?
Yeah,
different world. But when I think of when you think of the like we were talking about Rammstein before, think of the effort that goes into that band touring, because there's not just the 5 guys in the band.
No,
there's 5 guys in the band or 6 guys in the band. There's a drum tech, 2 guitar techs, a bass tech. I'm sure Till's got someone working with him in the vocals.
Yeah.
And Michael's. There'll be a sound guy. There'll be a pyro guy. There'll be a lighting guy, and there'll be tons of touring people, just roadies moving shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I remember again, my cousin and I went and saw Ice Cube at Billboard like a decade ago, and that dude had a desk, some turntables, and a DJ, and him. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, that is so much cheaper to run.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel as rock bands, if we're demanding too much, they're just going to go to those guys.
Well, that's it. Yeah. And then it does become...
There's a reason why we don't see big bands play anymore, because having a 20-piece orchestra playing a jazz set is hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to put together a symphony orchestra. It's a big undertaking.
Yeah. Well, going back to the commentary I've seen around this one, Brad, going back to Massive for a second, he chimed in saying, there's a reason why you have different grades of football. There's no reason why that shouldn't basically apply to music as well. And that might sound callous, cold, and cutthroat, but as things stand today in the current economy, I don't think it's sustainable for the government to keep paying for it for long term. And it does make sense for things like the buskers in the city. That I completely get it. For certain events, it makes perfect sense. So
because that's contributing to the vibe of your city.
Yeah, exactly. And if it's something like if it's a gig for Headspace, like they used to do things and that kind of stuff, like if it's things like that, then those all have positive flow-on effects. But if it's just the random pub gig, I just think it's prohibitive.
But this is why I like the Foo Fighters idea of the government bringing in a big-time headline act, putting him in a country town, and then putting 4 or 5 local bands on before.
That's
Like I had 2 last time, but surely they could put a couple more on.
They could make a.
I think that's much better as far as tourism, promoting country Victoria, and supporting, local music industry. I think that's a much better way. Even though it's a bigger outlay, it's a much better way of doing things.
It's more bang for buck overall, I would think.
Oh, yeah.
Not being behind the numbers and that, but just that's what you think is going to be the case. So I do definitely... I think that a flat $250 fee per musician per gig is just problematic. It's a nice idea, but if you're going to go down that path, go back to things like...
But on the football thing, right?
Yep.
Well, there's nothing like I know we all dream of being rock stars, but I mean... There's nothing wrong with being like just a journeyman footballer. And there's nothing wrong with being like I was remember thinking I was thinking earlier, like, because like a random band, but the Mighty Mighty Boss Stones announced they stopped touring. Right? These guys had one hit 20-something years ago.
Yeah.
But they still did the touring circuit every year. They still got their festival gigs. And they just became a working band. Like, that was just their job. They were millionaires, but it was better than working in an office.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with being that level of musician too.
Yeah, I agree. And that you got to be it's about what you want at the end of the day. And I think that you can do things and like you mentioned earlier on being a hobby band. There's nothing wrong with it either. You've got plenty of hobbyists in general.
Saints played with CJ Ramones at Croxton.
Yeah.
And I mean, CJ joined the Ramones in '94.
Yeah.
Like, he's not the dude. But the dude goes out, he tours, comes to the other side of the world, plays to 400 people. Man, that dude's living like a rock star.
Yeah.
He's making a living playing songs.
Yeah. It can be done. It's just not easy. And I think, if you're going to go down that path, like I said before, the idea of having a universal safety net for people is more applicable than asking fucking venues to pay for this. That's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I don't think there's enough, not even close, like Tim said. There's not enough money being generated. Not enough. Not in that circuit. So, I don't know. Dave, do you have anything else you want to add there quickly? Or
No, I'm good.
No, you're good? All right. You got some comments here, so I'll scroll back a little bit. It's an interesting one. Here we go. Shane, hey, folks. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're well.
Hey, Shane, what's up? I like the new tattoo too.
Ah, cool. Shane. Also, I don't know if you saw earlier on, but Nick Idden from Canerco, band we followed way back, he passed away the other day. So just thought I'd give you a heads up in that regard. Dean's gone, hey, Shane. So there we go. But Metalhead Fox, geez, I think it's lucky to get a couple of free beers, let alone actually getting paid for a gig, not even the beers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's very, very common. That is what it is. I mean, when we were doing the Lucky 13 ones, it was a case of the band's got X amount of free drinks, and then whatever was on the door they didn't take any door. They just took the bar. The venue took the bar, and when we took it was the same thing with Whole Lotta Love, actually. The venue would take the bar, the bands would take the door. That was kind of how it worked, because that was the only way you could make it even close to it. But yeah, it's a tough.
Or like the Brunny or like Swamplands used to do like no entry free, and the band gets 10% of whatever the bar makes.
Yep. Yeah, it's an interesting one. That's a good way to do it overall. Or better, but because that's incentive for everyone to make a good night out of it. But still, interesting one. Conrad, I think it's great for bands. However, they are already at $25 now for a local gig. For us unemployed, it's starting to become not affordable every weekend. If the money does not get raised on the door entry fees, I'm all for this. Otherwise, it might not be affordable to support local bands. That's the thing too. The on charge of the costs. Where's that going to go? Because if it's going to cost $1,000 for a 4-piece band to play a set, Jesus.
That's what I mean. Or you're getting a DJ, or you're getting a cover band that's going to play a 3-hour set.
Yeah. So there we go.
But they're making that kind of money anyway. So,
well, yeah, the cover bands are for sure. Michael, when I heard about the $250 per musician fee, I wondered if there would be a flow-on effect of ticket prices to cover costs, especially with gigs in small venues. I wouldn't expect to pay big venue prices. I'm all for the $250 per musician fee, but there's always a catch in my eye, and that's where it is too. The balancing act of that is very, very tricky. So where does it come from? And there's no way the government subsidizes it forever. That's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Man Family, good to see you. If there was an app created that punters would pay bands and buskers direct, that would be cool, apart from Patreon, which is cool and has its place. There is a way to do it. I was in the city the other day and saw a busker who, instead of having the bucket out the front or the empty guitar case or whatever else, they actually had a almost like a QR code where you just scan your phone and put in whatever you wanted to do, and that'd do it. So there are things like that happening. So,
there is a way to use PayPal in the same way as well.
Yeah, so that is coming into the space. So there is a bit of digital innovation there too. Darren, I've been on both sides of the fence, but for lesser-known bands, getting people to come to your gig is the biggest issue. You can't expect to get $250 for each member if you're only bringing in 10 friends. It's a very complex issue that will have to satisfy many parameters. Don't expect the government to actually make any sensible decision. That's a tricky part there.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like, I mean, when you're playing, once a month, it's hard to get a consistent crowd. You've got to get into that level where you can even get 20 people once a month is hard.
Yeah.
So, but even 20 people paying $10 each is not going to cover one band member.
Yeah, it's a full-on debate. Nicole says the government don't understand the music industry in terms of gigs. This is a pure election promise. Discos and nightclubs don't have live bands, but I think they do. It's an interesting one. I'm not sure. Yeah,
I wonder if they're thinking of cover bands.
Possibly, because that at least has a chance.
$250 per person for a cover band is about right.
Yeah, that makes sense. That one.
That's generally roughly like if you're a good cover band playing a decent sized venue, that's generally what you'd be asking for. Yeah,
I agree. It's an interesting, getting the actual feedback, like who they think is what, you know what I mean? Like actually, getting into the nitty gritty of it will be. I haven't gotten into it, but it'd be interesting to get further into the detail of this particular thing as well. Dean says, interesting topic that can go so many different ways, which we're obviously seeing here as well. So there we go. Shane replied, Tim, hopefully speak tomorrow if you're available. So there you go.
Yeah, I'll shoot you an email.
Yeah, cool. Conrad says, Hellfest in France is government subsidized, hence the lineups are always killer because the government fronts up the cash to get all the great bands. This in turn puts money back into the local community from the punters. So I'd like to see that sort of stuff applied to things like Download here. I think that'd be a good way to do it as well. Like what Tim's Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hellfest is fucking amazing. Jesus. Shane, sorry to tell you on this platform. Yeah, you had no idea about his passing. That's terrible. Condolences to his family, friends, and fans. So there we go. There's more sad news from the top of the episode to go back through there. But Nicole says, yes, Tim, in that sense, when it came to the government side of things, cover band side of things, and they have heard that artists have copped it hard, i.e. big name people, so this promise is made not in relation to small bands. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Not sure how it'll work out. We'll see. The devil is always in the details. We'll see it all come through one way or another soon enough, I'm sure. But keep the thoughts coming. It's a lot to go through there. So, yeah, it's an interesting topic. I'm glad we brought it up because I've seen both sides of the argument. But, it's not a black and white issue, that one, not even close. So we'll see what happens. All right. Let's go on to a random bit of fun now. And we won't spend long on this one, but it's just worth, paying attention to it. Dolly Parton got nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and turned it down. So Tim's already like, what the fuck are we talking about this for? I know, I won't spend long on it, but it's just like, let's just quickly just give it a quick little thought. And Tim, you come up first, so off you go.
I will personally induct Dolly Parton into the Hall of Fame. I think Dolly's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I understand what she's saying. However, I disagree with everything that she's saying.
Right. Okay.
I think Dolly Parton. I think I'd put Dolly Parton in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. I think Dolly should go in everything.
Well, for humanitarian efforts alone, fuck me, she's done some great stuff over the last few years.
Man, Dolly's been on The Simpsons.
Yeah, that's true. She's a cultural icon in any facet. Yeah.
She's been on The Simpsons. She's one of the most influential singers of all time. She's written some of the greatest songs of all time. Yeah.
Yep. Anything more you wanted to add there? Or?
Nah.
All right. Dave?
Yeah, I agree with her. Good on her. Congratulations. Fucking champion. As she said in her statement, she's done nothing in her career that's considered rock and roll. If she does record a rock and roll album in the future, she hopes to be reconsidered. But at the moment, she's not a rock and roll artist. If it's the Popular Music Hall of Fame, absolutely. If it's the Country Music Hall of Fame, absolutely. But it's supposed to be the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I know it doesn't mean shit, but we have fucking words to categorize things. If we're not going to use those categories, let's just go back to caveman style and just grunt at people. What words are there to describe things? Genres are there to describe things. If we're not going to use them, just fucking grunt at people. Call it the Grunt Hall of Fame for all I care. But yeah, Dolly Parton is a champion. Good on her.
But that's the beautiful thing about rock and roll is that
I know there's a big umbrella and there's different genres.
Rock and roll is not a thing. Like it's a rock and roll is a composition of many different things that have been brought together to create a movement more than a particular sound.
Yeah.
Mm.
Dave's trying to counter argument.
There's still a bunch of bands that you would consider rock and roll. There's bands that you consider hip hop. There's bands that you consider country. Johnny Cash is country. He did rock occasionally, but I wouldn't call him a rock artist. I don't think he would.
But like I said, if you took Johnny Cash, if you took Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, if you took Oasis and you took the Beatles, and you wrote them down, you had the right orchestration, the right everything, and you gave them to different people. You couldn't tell me which one was a rock song, which one was a folk song, which one was a pop song, which one. But then couldn't tell me because it's got nothing to do with the sound. It's got to do with like fashion and accent.
Yeah, and that's
Dolly Parton wears country boots and has a southern accent, therefore she's country.
But she's not rock. Has she ever used a distortion pedal? Or Marshall?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. It's like the difference between deathcore and death metal is skinny jeans. Like that's it. The difference between deathcore and death metal is skinny jeans. That is it. Okay. The difference between Britpop and rock and roll is haircuts.
Yeah, but
the difference between new wave, like, can you explain to me the difference between like a new wave 80s sounding band and the Clash? Why is one a punk band and one a new wave band? They're exactly the fucking same.
I don't know much about new wave. I can't answer that. But your career isn't based on your written music on a page. It's based on the final product, the things that people hear.
But my point, no. But that written music on a page is representative of something, much like the words are representative of something.
Multiple musicians can use the chord. It's the same chord. It's how it's presented.
Exactly.
Okay, there we go. This is that classic.
Okay, let me give you an example, right? Should the Rolling Stones be in the Hall of Fame?
Absolutely.
But the Rolling Stones themselves will call themselves a rhythm and blues band.
Yeah, they've done rock songs. They've done lots of things. They've done disco. But ultimately, they're a rock and roll band.
But not according to them.
But they've done rock and roll songs. Dolly Parton's never done a rock and roll song.
But not according to them. According to them, they're just a rhythm and blues band. They're ripping off Sister Rosetta Tharpe.
Yeah. Well, it came from the blues, and we know rock came from the blues.
Exactly. Yeah. That's my point.
But I wouldn't put John Lee Hooker in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I'd put the Stones in there. Wow. All right, so like Ray Charles.
No.
Would you look Aretha Franklin?
Jimi Hendrix I would put in there. I wouldn't put Santana in there.
Oh.
So what, Latin rock's not a thing?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I know, I was thinking more Evil Ways. That was more swing. But then you think later on, yeah, I don't know.
So is have you ever heard Parliament Funkadelic?
No.
Listen to them and tell me if they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Because there's two bands, right? They're the same band, but one it's like Band of Gypsies. Like the Funkadelic, all the guitar stuff got sent to the rock radio stations, and all the stuff with horns and got sent to the R&B stations. But it's the same band. They released two different.
Yeah. It's an interesting debate.
I'd take the majority of what the band is known for. bands have often ventured into other genres, but for the bulk of their career, if they're dishing out mostly rock, like the Stones.
Hey, look, by that standard, I mean, if you go into YouTube and type in Kiss, the most well-known song is going to be I Was Made for Loving You. So, I mean, by that standard, they should not be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, well, they were well past due by the time they actually got inducted to that, and they were fucking clueless.
But their most well-known song's a disco song.
Not for your average fan. From outside looking in, probably.
All right, okay, I got a different name for you, right? Lionel Richie.
No, I wouldn't consider him rock at all.
The Commodores.
Yeah.
Because Lionel Richie was the lead singer of the Commodores. I mean, the Commodores are rock and roll as fuck.
Yeah, but that's a different entity. It's not him solo.
Fucking hell.
if Mick Jagger left the Stones and did a fucking hip hop album and made a hip hop career apart from the Stones.
Hey, don't forget about his collaboration with David Bowie.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
But this is what I mean. Like, I mean, by this argument, I mean, are the Beatles a rock band or a pop band?
Rock. I'd say rock.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
Are you sure about that? Or are they just a pop band with guitars?
No, because they did a lot of heavier songs.
All right, Wings.
Ooh.
I don't know. I don't know many
Plastic
songs.
Ono Band.
Ugh.
Would you put John Lennon's solo career in there? This is what I mean. Like, rock and roll is such a grey area.
Yeah.
Because what rock and roll is not what's written down in music. Rock and roll is a movement. Rock and roll is an attitude. Rock and roll is much more than just playing music. So I think listening to someone and saying, "Oh, well, this person's this person's that, this person's that," I just don't think makes sense.
I think genres still apply. I can't think you can say everything's just music.
Yeah, but here's a question on that. Then, if genres still apply, that's fine.
No, I understand when people say, "Okay, Snoop Dogg shouldn't be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame." I understand that. That's fair. Dolly Parton?
No.
Well, yeah. See, I think genres are much more of a descriptor, an adjective, more than
like it stuns me that people care this much.
Well, like says the two guys going out at toe to toe. But
no, but like it's like I always go back to this, right? So I remember like when King Parrot first released Epileptic Butcher. I remember seeing there was a YouTube comment. Like some guy going, "Nah, man, it's like hardcore, brutal thrash punk with a little bit of things by it." Like, and at some point, it just becomes irrelevant. You know what I mean? You can only get so many subgenres before it's just like,
yeah.
Mate,
if you got more than 4 fucking words describing your genre, then you're getting ridiculous.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, Bronson used to describe their music as Applecore.
Yeah.
Because there was that era where everything was, you know, core this, core that, and like fucking Applecore.
Yep.
And it's like, I don't get it.
It's gone too far, way too far. And it's funny how
it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Like, I mean, it's got as much credibility as the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
they're inducting Sharmell. Come on.
Yeah.
Does anyone think Sharmell is a Hall of Famer?
No, not for a second.
No. Sharmell is going in with the Undertaker and Vader.
Yeah. Not a good idea. Look, I'm gonna intercede.
Sharmell is being inducted by Booker T, man. Just put Booker T in again.
I'm gonna
stop. 3 times, isn't he?
Enough. You guys are gonna fucking go back and forth all goddamn night at this rate.
Okay, I'll shut up.
Yeah. Look, I think we've morphed into a different topic about is rock and roll music or a movement, which I think is a different thing for another time. I think we can really dig into that one as another topic for another point. But I think in this case, just quickly, because this went for a lot longer than I fucking expected, to be honest. We've got a lot of comments too. I'll go through those in a second. There's a lot on each side of the coin here. But the thing for me is that look, if she doesn't want to be part of it, that's her call, and so be it. And I've got no problem with that at all. I think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has lost any call to rock and roll being its core ethos. So if Dolly Parton is nominated, then by all means she should be in there, because why the fuck not? And even if it was a pure Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'd debate that as well. As in, I think maybe she should. But the amount of traction this gets every year when something comes up is insane. It really is. I thought this would be a quick little, flash in the pan topic and be done. It just tends to trigger off everyone under every fucking debate under the sun, which is always.
This is why I think we should actually do a proper Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
it's hard to get into.
Yeah,
with a real high standard and voted for by people who know the industry, know what they're talking about, their influence and things like that.
There's a hell of a lot of big bands that should be.
But again, like these things will always be debated. But at least then you won't have the glaring omissions and things going in that you just go, okay.
I think it's just an interesting topic that whenever it comes up, but I think that I think Dolly Parton is good enough to be in whatever the fuck she wants to be in, as far as I'm concerned. But if she wants to, I think it's interesting of her to turn it down the way she has and done it so publicly. I think that's the more interesting side of this, apart from the esoteric debate that we've had before. But just her turning it down and being so public about it has made an interesting sort of. It's almost like that alone makes her worthy of being in it, because that's a rock and roll statement to go and give it the bird. Do you know what I mean? Like that alone is like, that's why she should be in there, because she's turning around and going, it's the Airheads moment where he wipes his ass with his record label contract. Like it's that fucking moment of this whole debate. And it's bizarre.
9 to 5 is more rock and roll than anything in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah. If Kiss can get in with fucking if Kiss can get in with fucking I Was Made for Loving You, then Working 9 to 5 can get in there.
It's not their only song.
Oh my god. Look, this is
short. What I short know something then.
Yeah, well,
or Shandy,
Beth,
Shandy.
Here we
the
go.
whole of Animalize.
Peter Cricket's solo album. Yeah, I should have gone on that
one. Oh fuck. Yeah, I didn't think we'd go this long on this topic, but yeah, I think we've got a lot of ground to cover in how many different little subtopics there are in this. Speaking of different genres, subtopics and subgenres, but
these descriptive words, we need them.
It's funny actually. On a side note, like I Was Made for Loving You. Yeah. I would love to know. I would actually love to interview the band and know what they were trying to do in the studio and whether or not it was changed. Because if you listen to the live albums that it's on, it's a completely different song.
Yeah,
yeah, they rock it up a lot.
Yeah, but even just the intro with the guitar mutes, like it's in the track, but it's like way down. Whereas on the live version, like it's a great intro.
Yeah. Now there's
just casually, I'd love to interview Kiss, like as if that's going to happen tomorrow. But...
Yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it? Watch the numbers. I think we're talking now. Watch the fucking numbers go through the roof then. But no, there's a lot to unpack in this whole debate. But I think that her rejecting it is enough reason for her to be in it for mine. But I think that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame claiming to be anything apart from just like Tim said, it's an event basically. It's a gig. It's selling a bunch of tickets. That's what it's all about. And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is whatever. Yeah, we'd probably rectify a lot of this by having an established one that actually made sense and was
Golden Gods worked pretty well.
Sorry,
it's like
Golden Gods.
Yeah,
it's like with the Baseball Hall of Fame. You can debate, should Ken Griffey Jr. have gone with 100% of the votes?
Yeah,
and that's a different kind of debate to. Should Snoop Dogg be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yes, that is a very different debate.
You know what I mean? Like, one's a valid debate that you could get into, and the other one's like, what? Why are we having this argument?
Yeah, no, there's an interesting little bit here, but we'll leave that one there. We've got a few bits to get through tonight. Still, we'll be here for a little while yet, but that was a fun little discussion. There's a lot to unpack in this, so I'll go. I'm just going to go through. I'm sorry, there's a lot of comments. Fuck, I'm still scrolling. All right, so what do we got here? All right, Nicola says good on her. Dean says the same. Good on her. Well done. Shane says Dolly is awesome, but he also said it's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in name only. It's realistically a music Hall of Fame, and she belongs. Yep. That's a true point there as well. Robbie, good to see you, buddy. He's going to get it all. Dolly doesn't need the Hall of Fame to prove her worth, and that's absolutely correct. She doesn't need validation. She's a legend in and of her own self. Shane, I consider all good music rock and roll. So here's where we're going to get to the esoteric stuff now. Dean says takes guts to say no. Michael, caveman style. Now, that's a musical genre that would be interesting, Dave. So there we go. The grunging. Surprise you brought it up. You don't like things like Party Cannon. What else?
I thought that was already a thing with them.
Here we go. Shane says, spot on, Tim. Movement. He also says Johnny Cash was a fucking rock star, and anybody disagrees is absolutely wrong. I tend to agree with that one, actually. Preach, Tim. You're a fucking legend, mate. And Nicole has gone checkmate when that was when you were just stumped there for a minute there, Dave. You had to take a second to think about a retort. Sally says, Dolly does some stuff that's not just country. A song called Painted on Jeans, very cool. Painted on Jeans, yes, that's a good one. I think Dolly's country pulling in aspects from other genres like a lot of music, and that's true as well. Craig says, it's only rock and roll, but I like it. There we go. Here we go. Another more debating points here. Conrad said, New Wave sounded nothing like The Clash. New Wave was closer to 80s goth. TC says,
you see my point?
Yeah. TC says, Tim's right. Sorry, Dave. Rock and roll covers a lot of musical styles. The word rock isn't the defining factor that decides what bands should be in the Hall of Fame. So here we go.
And change the damn name.
Here we go. Sally says, always great insights from Tim. Craig B says, primitive cool was rock. So here we go. Conrad says, stop being pedantic, Tim. I'm with Dave on this. So, Dave, you did get some love.
Thank you.
Nicole says, at the end of the day, she doesn't class herself as anything but country. Yeah, there's a different debate in that one. Nicole says, rabbit hole of rock and roll, and we're going to be doing that too. Metalhead Fox, Motorhead are generally referred to as metal, but Lemmy always stated, on Motorhead, we play rock and roll. That's very true as well.
But even then, man, like,
yeah,
they're the biggest Stray Cats fans in the world.
They are. Yep. Definitely.
Yeah.
All
That's it, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Dean says to change things up here. In footy news, Carlton 101, Richmond 76 for footy fans. So there we go. I'm going to probably stay.
Now, the real question is, were Carlton good, or did Richmond just take a step backwards?
I don't know. I only had the scoreboard here, not really watching the game. So I'll have to ask my wife and daughter when they get home, which will be an interesting conversation for me because they're both Richmond supporters. So rough night ahead. All right. So, Nicole says Music Hall of Fame in general. But also Darren says, correct, Andrew. Anytime anyone mentions the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, people go off top, and that's what we are here. When I mentioned Airheads, Shane piped in with, I ain't farting on a snare drum, man. There we go, Pip. Good to have Craig says, rock is a beast. A song can be presented as a country pop soft, but if you can crank that song up, you can create the energy of rock, which is something.
Yeah.
The reason why country is interesting, right?
Yeah.
Because if you look at popular country music for the last 20 years, it is just rock and roll with a twang.
Well, you look at the grunge movement, how much country is in grunge.
Yeah.
There's a huge country influence in grunge. Huge.
Well, like, we're rehashing old stuff here, but the punk special, one of the things we all commented on was how much reggae is there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's a lot there. It's a big topic to unpack. Nicole says Kiss should have stopped after Unmasked. She did correct that to Kiss even. Maybe we should.
Kiss is cool.
No, I think their best albums are after, to be honest.
Creatures of the Night.
God, here we go. What was Kiss's best era? Another topic coming your way. Stay tuned for more deep cuts going on this. This whole thing into a fucking monster.
Well, there's no right or wrong answer, but it's 80s Kiss.
was waiting for that to come up. Rowan says we need genres in order to be able to talk about music. We need it to intuitively understand and agree upon genres in order to avoid arguing over categorization for 30 minutes. Case in point. And Sally says, Tim's got great insight here, but I agree with Dave. All right. And Craig has answered the question. Carlton were good, apparently. So there we go. Thanks.
Oh, that's kind of disappointing as a Collingwood supporter, to be honest.
That is very disappointing as a Collingwood supporter, to be honest. I'm going to agree with you there, Tim. Tim, you and I are on the same page, 100% on that one. All righty. Let's get to some. It is St. Patrick's Day, for those who aren't paying attention. It is St. Patrick's Day. So we figured we still got 4 reviews to do after this. We have some fun and draft our top 10 drinking songs because, it is St. Patrick's Day. We'll have some fun with it.
All right, so we're doing 10 songs each.
Or we should we make it 5? Maybe make it 5 just to...
5.
I've got enough for 10. I'm just making sure.
We'll probably steal them, though.
Let's do 5. We'll do it a bit quicker. We'll do a top 5 and then we'll get onto the reviews. Otherwise, we'll be here until fucking midnight. Here we go. Shane, yes, I agree. Can't the Pies tomorrow night. Yes, definitely.
Yep.
Looking forward to a new era beginning. Alrighty. So we'll do a top 5 drinking songs. Alrighty. So this is the rules for this are pretty straightforward. I'm going to have to bypass the comments for a little bit while I make notes of who picks what. But the rules are simple. It's a blind draft. So I randomly pick things out with the names out with the randomizer here. Once an artist is taken, they can no longer come back. So once the band or the artist is gone, that's it. So there'll be a competition among some of us for certain songs, I'm sure. Or at least certain artists. Dave, I'm particularly looking at you. Between you and I know there are certain ones we are definitely going to cross over on. This is actually fitting because on Saturday night on Channel 31, you're going to get our favorite drinking songs as a TV broadcast. So that's coming up on Saturday night on Channel 31. But we figured we'd have some fun on St. Patrick's Day, and we were going to do 10, but we'll knock it down to 5 and get onto the reviews. So we're not going to be here all night. But this is it. So we all know the rules. You'll work it out as we go along. But first cab off the rank is Dave. All righty.
Sweet. Lionel, drink the rum.
Fucking hell, I knew you'd take that one. Just bear with me while I type things out, people. Alrighty, next cab off the rank, Tim.
All right, I think Dave got the expected number 1. I'm going to take the expected number 2.
Yep.
Drink by Ailstorm.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty. So this leaves me. Alrighty, I'm gonna go with Hell Yeah. Drink, drank, drunk. Because that had to be taken. Alrighty. Next
Is there a
round.
Dolly Parton drinking song?
Oh fuck. We should find out. That would
fucking 30 quid jugs.
That would be great. There's a whole new meaning of jugs and stuff in this context. I'm sure we could make this really good. But anyway, time for round 2. Round 2, Dave, off you go.
Sweet. Wasp, Blind in Texas.
Yes. Let us know out there in the comments what you think is going to be your best drinking songs too, just for a bit of fun here. Get in the comments and let us know. Oh, I get to go second. So for my next choice, all right, I'm going to go with an Aussie classic, The Pour, More Wine, Waiter Please. All righty, so Tim, you get to bring out round 2.
Stoned and Drunk by Black Label Society.
Ooh, nice.
Good pick. Off my list.
Nice. All right, round 3, people. Here we go. Me first. Okay, me first in the gimme gimmies. I don't know if they have a drinking song, but alrighty. What have I got on my list here? All right, I'm gonna have a bit of fun with this one. Probably get a lot of groans out there, but this is a song that I definitely fucking love to play when I'm in for this kind of mood. This is a bit of Nickelback, "Burn It to the Ground." I reckon that is a cracker of a song. I can see Tim groaning there as it was. So, like I said, bear with me for a second while I just type these things out without fucking trying to avoid too many typos. All right, next up is Tim. All right.
All right, now I think this is one of the most underrated songs out there.
Mm-hmm.
It is by George Thorogood.
Yes.
One bourbon, one shot, one beer.
Nice.
Nice. I love that one. Alrighty. Which means, Dave, you get to close out
Cool.
this.
This one covers two of my favorite things: Rob Zombie, pussy liquor.
I knew it. I was waiting for that one. Alrighty, we got 2 rounds to go, so two more choices each. Me now. Okay, I'm going to go and strip this back a bit. I'm going to go to a bit more. There are a lot of great ones that I'm going to leave behind. But that's a good one. I thought of that one, Basher. I'll get to the comments, but I'm going to go to a little Aussie band called Ablaze with "Where's My Drink." That's what I'm going to take next. All right, Tim, second last.
Well, it could be a drinking song. It also could not be a drinking song. It also could be a rock song. It may not be a rock song, too. But it's Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba.
Oh, okay. Nice. I appreciate that one. Alrighty, so Dave, you get to retort to that one.
Okay, this is from a rock band. This is definitely a rock song. It's about when you have too much to drink and you can't get it up. It's the Lazies with Half-Mast Blues.
Yes. Good choice. Alrighty, final rounds. This is last call, guys. Last call. For your final choice, I get to go first. All right. Shane, if you're still there, you'll appreciate this one. This is a little band out of Northern Ireland that we've known and loved for quite some time. This is Trucker Diablo, Drink Beer, Destroy. That was my final choice for this one. I had to put that one in there. Alrighty, so the two of you get to go at it. So, Tim, you're up. What's your last choice?
Tough, man. I'll go with Too Drunk to Fuck by the Dead Kennedys.
Yeah. That's funny because TC put the Buck Cherry cover in for our TV special, or TV episode on this one. There we go. Dave, you get the final one. The last call belongs to you. What is the final drink?
This is a classic song from one of my all-time favorite bands and easily the best band of the 70s and definitely a fucking rock band. This is Thin Lizzy with Whiskey in the Jar.
I was waiting for that. Yep.
Yeah, I was tossing up between that and the last one.
Cool. All right. Well, just to rehash and let us know. I've got some comments here. We'll get to those. All this in a second. Actually, no. Fuck it. Let's get into it now. So Nicole has given us the clover for St. Paddy's Day, which is nice there. Metalheads, happy St. Paddy's Day. I'm celebrating appropriately, to be sure. We all are. Don't know about that. Shane said, I'm always drinking and always listening. Therefore, all songs are drinking songs. Touche. Well, that is always the case. Dean, I knew you picked this one, and it's not a surprise that you
have a drink on the Akadaka, yeah.
AC/DC, that's always there for sure. Metalhead Fox said 1 scotch, 1 bourbon, 1 beer. There we go. Dean says, cracking song by Nickelback, Andrew. Thank you. I'm not the only one that likes that. So there we go. Oh, here we go. Sally liked it too. Love it burning in the ground. Awesome. Nice. Oh, here we go. TC, Dolly Parton has a song called Drinkenstein. Okay, I have to go and take.
Oh, my God. Perfect.
This is perfect. Thank you,
This
TC.
is a rock song, though.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Seriously.
I was almost tempted to pick Gin and Juice by Snoop Dogg.
Hey, we didn't specify a genre. We just said drinking song, so that makes sense. Bash, someone that I saw come through quickly. Bash said Offspring, the worst hangover ever. That's not a bad choice either. That's cool. Metalhead Fox, ACDs, have a drink on me. There we go. Oh, here we go. Sally Lee's Take Your Whiskey Home. Van Halen. That's another one there too. Very cool. Dean said, great choice, Tim, for George Thorogood. When it came time for me to mention Trucker Diablo, Shane says, still crank that song regularly. What an anthem it is. Absolutely. Rowan says, Axis Water Drop. Cool. Nicole says the pub with no beer, Slim Dusty. So there we go. Ooh, Tuffy, good to see you. Thanks for joining us on YouTube. Audrey Horn, Confessions and Alcohol. So there we go. There's another one there too. And Dean says, when I drink, I go crazy from Airborne. That's a good choice too. Great ones in there too. But just to recap, let us know who you think had the best list out of this as well when you're watching this live or later on. Dave had Lagerstein, Drink the Rum, Wasp, Blind in Texas, Rob Zombie, Pussy Liquor, The Lazies, Half Mast Blue, and Thin Lizzy Whiskey in the Jar. Tim had Ailstorm Drink, Black Label Society, Stone and Drunk, George Thorogood, 1 bourbon, 1 scotch, 1 beer, Chumbawamba with Tub Thumping, and Dead Kennedys, 2 Drunk to Fuck. And my list was Hell Yeah, Drink, Drank, Drunk, The Poor, More Wine, Way to Please, Nickelback, Burn It to the Ground, Ablaze, Where's My Drink, and Trucker Diablo, Drink, Beer, Destroy. So there we go. Conrad's gone. Tankard's entire album catalog. That's very true. Tankard, masters of the drinking song. But Dean said, all of you together, we will all be drunk and who cares? So there we go. So that's a very good point as well. All right. Oh, no. Here we go. We got a winner here, Dave. Your list wins for Conrad. So there we go.
Thank you. Cheers.
See if anyone else. Ooh, Shane's got a list here. Night Train, Guns N' Roses. Dave, I'm surprised you didn't pick it.
I had that song.
In the streets of Frankston with drunk with Mike from Arcane Saints. Yes, we did that. Wait, fucking hell. Drunk in Frankston is always an adventure. I'll put it that way.
I think the Bennies had a song called Frankston Girls for a while.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, here we go. Dean says, fucked with an anchor. Ailstorm, there's another one. Keelhauled for mine. Bottle of rum and a yo-ho-ho. That's always a good line. But Sally picked my list there as well. So there we go. Against the diverse opinions. Shane said, that's one word for it, adventure. Yes, definitely. Some of the ones we did, especially with that fire extinguisher out of Kelly's. Was it Kelly's? No, Pelly Bar, sorry. Pelly Bar. That was an interesting night all around. That one. I'll leave you to the imagination on that one, people. You can work that out for yourselves. That with a fire extinguisher in Frankston. Alrighty, let's get on to some reviews. We've got 4 to get through tonight before we get out of here. So first, cab off the rank when it comes to the reviews is the latest from Aussie band Encrypt. So the album is Thrashing, and that happens to be the title of the reference track I'm giving you now. So in the comments, in the description box, you'll find Encrypt, Thrashing, Extinction. That is your reference track to check out. It's also the title track of the album. Before we get stuck into it, here we go. Nicole says, I grew up drunk in Frankston. So there we go. Cool. I grew up drunk.
Thanks, Thomas.
Yeah, there we go. And Dean says, what a night that would have been, definitely. Metalhead Rat said, hell yeah, alcohol and ass. Ah, yes, that's another one as well. That's another good one too. Alrighty. So let's get into our first review of the evening. This is Encrypt, Thrashing, Extinction, 39 minutes. The fourth studio album of the Melbourne band, released February 2022 via Wormhole Death. 2 singles from this have been released in Extermination and Chaotic Freedom Remains, with the title track also having the lyric video, which we'll have shared tonight. This is this week's Australian review, and a big thanks has to go to the label for sending this one in to us as well. Let's see who goes first with the randomizer. Let's go to Tim. Over to you.
I was so happy listening to this.
I thought, yeah, this would be one.
Oh, this is so good. The album is called, what's it called? Thrashing Extinction.
Yep.
And you pretty much know what you're going to get from that title.
Yep.
And it's just, now if you're a connoisseur of the thrash, it is more Slayer Testament-y-ish.
Yeah.
Than Exodus-y-ish. From the creator region of France, otherwise it's just sparkling thrash.
Now who's
lots of creator in this style of thrash, and I mean that's the kind of thrash I like. The thrash that's lots of open E strings. Lots of open E string. Yeah. Lots of use of subdivision, knowing when to double kick, when to single kick, when to 4 on the floor, when to double time it, when to blast, when to hold back on the snare. And the melodies in the vocals are so simple but so clever. Yeah. And the other thing that I loved with this as well, they knew when to sit on a riff.
Yeah.
They knew when, like, this thing has got something. This has got some movement. This has got something hypnotic to it. Let's just sit on it even if it's not like a stereotypical catchy riff. Yeah. It's like, let's just sit on this for a little bit second because there's something nice happening here. Now, this is an excellent, excellent thrash album. I know he's probably coming home from the footy a bit pissed off, but if Brendan ever sees this, he should listen to this album because he's going to dig it quite a lot.
This would be good for his... This would help him out.
He'll feel better after listening to this album. This is an excellent, excellent, excellent album. If you like thrash metal, you're going to love this album. If you don't like thrash metal, then what are you doing watching this show, frankly?
Yeah.
Ultimate Down Under Attack was my highlight at 9 out of 10.
Beautiful. Alrighty. Dave, follow it up.
I can't follow that up, but I will agree. This is a pretty damn good album. It's my first time hearing this band. Old school thrash done very well, and I like that they threw in a few Australian references too. I mean, you got a little bit of Aussie bush sound effects at the start of Stars of the Southern Land. I thought that was very cool.
The kookaburras.
Once you get over the little introduction, skulking, that was cool. It kind of set the scene. It was a slow build and kind of a piano and some tortured screams, and then it leads right into the opening track, which is the title track, and it's just full on thrash. But it's not. That doesn't really set what you get for the whole album. There are a few moments to breathe, and there's some change of tempos and moods and everything. Like Push Beyond Breaking and Ghost Hour Chimes. The intros to that were very, very different to what you get on the rest of it. That song, Push Beyond Breaking, has some very nice tempo shifts, and the lyrics to that are fucking awesome. I mean, he just throws out a whole bunch of adjectives about metal on stage. I'm not going to read them all out, but just it's like pulling all these things out, like mesmerizing, exciting, thrashing, radical, epic.
Yeah.
Oh, it was brilliant.
It was so
it was fun. It's fun thrash. It's not like dark and evil. It's just having fun, and you can tell these guys are enjoying themselves and having humor with what they do. Each song is done between 3 and 4 minutes. There's no wasted moments. There's apart from the sound effects I mentioned earlier, that's pretty much the only foley or introduction to a song that is getting it done. So it's a no nonsense album. Special mention to Chaotic Freedom Remains. The lyrics, we like to party and drink all day. Fuck yeah, I'm in with this shit. So I get 8 out of 10. Push Beyond Breaking, Extermination, and Chaotic Freedom Remains are the standouts.
Nice. I don't have a lot to add to what you guys have put into this one. It's a fucking phenomenal record. It's riff driven, heaps of energy. There's some great intensity in the vocals on this one as well. But the groove was what really stuck with me on this. When they really settled into a groove, this thing fucking kicked some serious ass. And that combined with there's just enough melody in this to give you the hooks kind of thing too. So when the groove and the hooks kind of combined, like on the title track in particular, that's just a fucking wow moment. It just clicks, and it's like that'd be so much fun to see live. The vocals are that sort of pitched aggression that suit the style nicely. Got that classic kind of aggression along with just enough melody in there. The whole listen is just all that great attack in the playing and the performances. Like everything about this is just attacking in it, and it works so well for this style of music. Great performances across the board, great writing. If you are a fan of thrash or you're watching this show, this is an album you simply must listen to. And lyrically, this whole thing is pretty much just an ode to thrash. It's pretty straightforward. It just loves thrash metal. It's just what they are. There's a bit more to it than that, but that's the part that sort of stuck with me the most. Is just there's just this fun element that that this would be the. I don't know what they're doing in terms of gigs and that, but if you just saw this at the Bendy, it'd go off. Like it is the perfect. It would just go off. The old Legions of Steel things that Dennis used to put together, this would be perfect for that kind of setting. Like it would just go off. The mix overall has just the right kind of edge to it. It's really well balanced, but there's, a nice little bit of, when you listen closely, there's like an amp hum that just goes all the way through it. And it's just a nice little dialed back touch to the whole thing, not over polished. It's just got that right bit of edge to it, which is really nicely done. Everything's balanced. You can hear everything clearly. Though. It's not a fault. It's a deliberate thing, which is done really, really well. But there is some little bits of darkness here too, which I found really interesting. Like in some of the lead guitar note choices in particular, there were some great solos as well on this one. But the little licks that overlay, so you got the melody and the groove which kicks in, but when there's these little guitar bits that just sit over the top of it all, just here and there, just a little bit of icing on the cake, and they are just perfect. They bring so much for so little kind of thing. They're not overcomplicated. They're not flashy. They're just little melodic pieces that just bring a lot more to these songs than you would otherwise get, and they work so well. I think the album flows greatly. This is just the midsection in particular on this record is where it really just sort of hits a stride and just goes bang, 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 and it's just a really great punchy listen. Sorry. There's 3 tracks in the middle of this thing that'd be fucking awesome. Watch them play live back to back to back. Like, it'd be fantastic. You mentioned the kookaburras. I thought that was great as well. But you get a nice little bit of a tonal shift on with the clean work and that in Chaotic Friend Remains as well. You get a bit of it's tucked away toward the end there, which is a nice little sort of touch before it launches into the song. Like there's a vibe in this overall that if these guys are playing with Lagerstein, they're 2 different bands, but it'd work. Like they'd be so much fun to watch these guys and Lagerstein play the same bill together. It's just a lot of fun. If you like thrash, get onto this one. It's just a fucking great album. Very, very cool. 8.5 out of 10 from me. Thrashing, Extinction, Extermination, and Point Evolution were my standouts on this one. So there we go. 3 out of 3. Enjoyed that record. And it turns out that Metalhead Fox is a member of the band. So thank you for joining us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I'd love to see these guys with Harlot.
Yeah, that would work too. Harlot or Desecrator would be great.
And just, Frankie Dog for the fuck of it.
Oh, yeah, well, of course. Why not? That would be cool. That would be fucking great. Alrighty, we've got some comments going. I'll go back through here for a second. Right, okay, so Basher said, Dave, Whiskey in the Jar went crazy at billboards when Thin Lizzy Mark 2013 played it. So there we go for that one. Therefore, going back to the drinking songs. But when you gave the review, Tim, Viking Girl said, yes, good on you, Tim. We're getting a lot of love for this. Nicole said, gosh, I love this band. From the first time I heard them, I went, wowzers. This is cool. And Viking Girl also said, love your words, Tim. So there we go. Metalhead Fox says, many thanks to you all. It's our proudest achievement, and you should be fucking proud of this one. It's a great record.
You should be. It's a really good album.
Definitely. Cool. Viking Girl said, my favorite Encrypt album so far. So there we go. Cool. And she also says they have an absolute blast what they do. And you can tell. I reckon you can tell. You can feel the fun listening to this one too. Back to the drinking songs for a second here. Dean says, something in your mouth from Nickelback for a drinking song. Not many will like it though, but there we go. And another one he's put up is, am I ever going to see your face again from the Angels as well. All right, back to the review. Viking Girl says, yep, Andrew, they kick ass live. This album in particular is going to be absolutely killer live. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
As a member of Encrypt, we are absolutely keen as fuck to play this live. You all would love to fucking happen, mate. Whenever you, let us know. Keep us in.
Yeah, let us know. We'll give it a plug as much as we can, and we'll try to get there.
Yeah, beautiful. Alrighty. So, Shotgun Mistress, Timmy, absolutely cracking new Arcane album, brother. So awesome. There you go.
Thank you very much. Love the new Unplugged track as well.
Yeah. If you haven't checked it out, guys, we did talk about your new Unplugged track earlier tonight. So go and check it out. There was a lot of love for us and a lot of love from the comments as well. So go back through a bit of time ago now. It's a little while ago, but yeah, we did talk about it earlier on. Conrad said, big thrash metal fan social. Check this out. I know they're having a gig in Melbourne coming up soon. There we go. And Nicole says, I swear Encrypt are playing up here soon as well. Viking Girl says, where's here, Nicole? Up in Queensland. So there we go. Get that back and forth going there on YouTube. Alrighty. That's so far 1 for 1. That's cool. Dean says, I'll see them next time they come out and play live. So there we go. So there's another one that's going to go and see him. And, Viking Girl says, Queensland, not just yet, Nicole, but we'll do so as soon as possible for sure. So there you go on that one too. So we're getting a bit more information doing the rounds. Alrighty. Changing pace to a degree, but this one kind of is a nice little segue falling on. Going to go to the latest from New Horizon. So in the comments, in the description box, we are going to play, or the reference track for you is New Horizon with the song Stronger Than Steel. That is your reference track. So the band is New Horizon. Reference track Stronger Than Steel. That is for your enjoyment in the comments, in the description box. We'll do the review in a second, but there we go. Sally says, just for more love here. New album, very cool, Tim. So there you go, more love for the new Arcane Saints record there.
Thank you very much.
There you go. Viking says, good on you, Dean, for going to see the band. And Nicole says, just wishful thinking on my behalf. Hey, there's a lot of wishful fucking wanting people to go and see this band, so you're not alone there, Nicole. It's all of us here. Alrighty, on to New Horizon. So this is New Horizon, Gate of the Gods, 10 tracks, 50 minutes, the debut album from the former Heat from Sweden bandmates Eric Grunwald and Jonah T. This was released in March 2022 via Frontiers. 4 singles have been released, including Stronger Than Steel and We Unite. Production was handled by Jonah T, and there are guest spots in this from members of Dynasty, Dragon Force, Heat, and many, many more. This was originally intended to be a multi-vocalist thing with a different singer for each song, but once Eric came in to do 2 tracks, Jonah and he decided just to pick up where they left off from the Heat days, but do a completely different direction musically from that, and so they figured they'd just keep working together and finish the album off. So a big thank you to the label and also to Lee for making sure that we knew about this one, getting it to our attention in a lot of sharp focus, shall we say. Alrighty, first up is Dave.
Cool. We all know Eric Grunwald from Heat. I actually met the guy. That was cool. But yeah, and we know he's got a great voice. And this new band is more power metal, whereas Heat was rock band. Okay, yeah. Genres, people, they're important. It's nice to hear how good his voice fits into this heavier style. As you expect, it's filled with lots of energy, fast, dexterous riffs, lots of soloing. Everyone knows what they're doing, and all the performances are great. I'm going to get crucified for this, but I can't help but think there's something missing. And it took me a few listens to kind of put my finger on it. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed ultimately. The song Fearless is a perfect example. That song is awesome, but it's not quite a Goosebumps song for me. And it could have been. It's got what it should have, but that X factor that causes a Goosebump effect for me, it's not there. Musically, it's impressive. Vocally, it's great. It just doesn't have that passion. Just does not have that oomph factor. Don't know why, because everyone involved is great. Like I said, performances are fantastic. It's well written, well performed. Lyrically, it's a little bit cliched. I've heard a lot of this before, but it's disappointing that it's almost there, but it just doesn't have it for me, at least. I'm sure other people absolutely love it, but ultimately, knowing everyone involved in this, it could have been fantastic, and it's good, verging on great. But maybe I just had really high expectations, knowing everyone was involved in this. But I was hoping it was going to blow me away, and it didn't. But it ticked all the right boxes, and the performances are great. The thing that really stood out for me on this was a lot of the solo sections and the instrumental sections surrounding those solo sections. Call the Underground, Stardust, Fearless, Gates of the Gods, all fantastic compositions. Just that final touch that made it fantastic was missing. The album, the title track that closes the epic one, that is awesome. It's great. Different sections, different solos, but it's good. It's not great. I gave it 7.5 out of 10. Stronger Than Steel, Fearless, and Gates of the Gods were my standouts. But yeah, I'm sorry if people love it, but it's just not there for me.
Not the result I was expecting, but okay.
I bet Tim loves it.
I'm not sure now. Go on.
I was going to say, I just as a side thing, I'd wonder, like, if you were to come back to this in a year, what you think of it.
That's a good question. Yeah,
maybe,
because like in a weird way, right? I actually do agree with you.
Okay.
I think it's very good, if not great. But at the same time, I'm not disappointed by that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, because I think a lot of it might depend on what your opinion of Heat is. Because I mean, I think you're a lot more into Heat than I am. So when I kind of saw, Heat members doing the thing, I'm like, okay, cool. But when I heard this, I was pleasantly surprised. I thought, I know it's got the power metal thing, but I mean, power metal's a huge.
Yeah.
There's a difference between, Halloween and Hammerfall. Yeah. And this is more on the Halloween side with a bit of, new wave, British heavy metal thrown in and a bit of priesty stuff thrown in. And so for me listening to this, I mean, while I agree, I don't think it's the greatest power metal album we'll review this year, I did think it was a really good album, and I was left quite enjoying it. Which does leave me a bit curious as to what other people think of this, because again, a lot of what you said I think is correct. I think the melodies are good, but lyrics can be a little bit cliche. Instrumental sections are fantastic, and again, overall very good, but not spectacular. So again, yeah, that's interesting. I actually gave it an 8 out of 10, and Call of the Underground was my highlight. But again, like it's not yet. It's a little bit more on the darker side of power metal without being overly cheesy. But I thought it was over. Like if you like power metal, you're gonna quite enjoy it. I think again, if you're not a power metal person, then it's probably not going to change your mind. But again, I wonder if you're a Heat diehard, whether or not you're going to be listening to this thinking, just play Heat songs.
All right, cool. Just quickly, Carly's here. So hey, y'all, good to see you, Carly.
Hey, Carly.
Hope you're keeping well out there.
Carly's got new stuff coming out soon too.
Yes, let us know when your new clip's ready to go as well, Carly. We'll play it on the show. Would love to get a chance to that. So yeah, keep us in the loop. Looking forward to more from you soon enough. Alrighty. So I went into this one. I think the difference for me between me and Dave in particular is we both have followed Heat for obviously a few years now. We both reviewed albums before and stuff like that. But I went to this with a really blank slate. I knew this wasn't going to be a Heat record. I knew I just took all preconceived ideas and just fuck them off. So I went to this one thinking, let's see how it goes, and was really pleasantly surprised, actually. First things first, my first one is welcome back, Eric Grunwald. Like his fucking vocals, my God. For everything that bloke's been through, cancer and the works, he has come back firing on all cylinders vocally. So well done. Glad you're still with us, and glad you're fucking kicking ass and taking names with your vocal performance. If you like your metal with loads of melody, this is something you're going to enjoy. That is that power metal thing. Again, Eric smokes the vocal in this, but I like the energy and the intensity across the board on this one. It really leans into sort of the classic metal incredibly well, but it's the pulse that adds to this infectiousness, along with the pulse along with the hooks. Really, for me, captured what I was looking for when it came to the energy and the intensity, and it took me along for the ride with it. I enjoyed it quite a bit. The whole thing is punchy, from performances, mixing, writing, the whole lot. This is all that impact, and it certainly got that as far as I'm concerned. There's even some of the old cliches, like I know that Dave mentioned the lyrics there, but they've worked in those sort of cliche aspects really well. I didn't find any of it tacky at all. I thought it was intelligent. It was done in just the right way. So, you're getting the trope you expect, especially for the live setting, but you're not getting, sort of, oh, here we go again, kind of, but it's just really well done. It's done with taste. I love how this was predominantly about vocals and guitar, and they both shine, but the rhythm under it all is bang on and perfect for the platform for these guys just to launch from in that. And also the synth on this was just right, not over the top, not too far back. It was in that sort of Goldilocks zone where they knew when to push it forward and then bring it back, and it really did add some accent and color to these songs, which I thought worked really, really well. I found it, for me, knowing them from, the Heat days, bloody hell, it was remarkable how easily they shifted into this style of music. I actually expected more teething problems than I got out of it. I thought they, sort of fall into the rock world a bit more than they did. They just went full on. They just went, okay, we're doing a hard right turn and going bang. And they executed it well. None of them it's, ultimately groundbreaking. It's just incredibly well put together. If you like power metal, this is an album you should listen to. If you don't like power metal, it's not going to change your mind or rock your world. But it's just big, it's powerful, it's energetic, the great lyrics, great hooks, it's got it all. The groove on tracks, like the end of it all, is really well done. None of this, the other thing too that was cool, but it's for a genre that is actually quite heavily populated, none of this felt dated. This felt really fresh and vibrant in today, which is a nice touch on the way this thing the way it felt listening to it for me. I like the flow of the album. There's a little bit more diverse in this one toward the back end of things here, but you get tried through stuff at the beginning to sort of suck you in for the journey on the second half of the album. But yeah, it all just sort of ties together nicely. I hope we get more out of this. I reckon these guys have a lot to offer in this space of the musical world. So they've got a lot of scope to work with. I think there's more than enough talent, and I think they've executed this one really, really well. I'd also like to see Eric get a little nod in the Aerion world. Like the Aerion universe, I think that Eric's vocal on this style of music would work incredibly well in that setting. I think him working with Ian Lucasen would be fucking fantastic. I think this is well worth your time. If you like your power metal, get onto it. I gave it a 9 out of 10. I really did enjoy it. Stronger Than Steel, Event Horizon, and Gates of the Gods. Now, that track is a stunning way to close the record. The way it had drama and the changes to it was fucking phenomenal. So, yes, definitely. If nothing else, check out Gate of the Gods, the title track. That is just, that is a good way to close out the record as far as I'm concerned. Alrighty, one comment on this one. Nicole says, I really like this. Needs to be a tad more of something, but I don't know what. So there we go. Maybe it's more along the lines of what Dave was saying there. So you're not alone there. All right, let's get on to one we know we've been waiting to get to. This will be really interesting. We're going to talk about the latest now from Ghost. Alrighty, so I'm just going to quickly cycle through this again. All right, so here we go. So Basher said, have not heard enough of New Horizon to comment, but I'm a fan of Heat and will give it a listen. Definitely. If you like that pairing, I think you will definitely enjoy this one. It's just more metal than rock. That's all. TC says, great album, worth the wait. So there we go on that one. So get some more feedback there. But let's get on to the latest from Ghost. So in the description box, in the comments, you're going to find a link to Call Me Little Sunshine, which is the single I've chosen from Ghost to be the reference track on this album. So the band is Ghost. The track is Call Me Little Sunshine. That's what you're going to be checking out while we have a chat about the latest. So this is Ghost with Impera. 12 tracks, 46 minutes. The 5th studio album from the Swedish band, released March 2022 via Lorna Vista. 3 singles have been released, including Hunter's Moon and Call Me Little Sunshine. Produced by Klaas Arlund with mixing done by Andy Wallace. The concept for this one is about the rise and fall of empires and is set several hundred years after Prequel, which was set in the Black Plague era. If you've been following us for a while, you'll know that some of us adore this band. Others have taken a bit longer to warm up to them. So let's see how we go this time. And first off the board is Dave. So here we go.
Cool. I've been looking forward to this album, which is strange because I've never considered myself to be a fan of this band at all.
Yeah.
Well, the singles they released leading up to this was enough to spark my interest. I mean, Hunter's Moon was cool. Obviously, it grabbed my attention because it was around Halloween, and Halloween Kills was tied in with this movie. It's in the credits. And then they released Call Me Little Sunshine. That song's fucking fantastic in terms of melody, mood, and themes. And it's just a very creepy song, but it's presented with enough polish to sucker and seduce people into a sense of security, which I finally understand what this band is about. And they're fucking great. It's really well done. Exceptionally well done.
Yeah. Then
they released 20s, and I'm not sure if it's set in the current 20s or 100 years ago or previous 20s from the 1820s, but or if they're making comparisons between, or if there's an ageless cult. But whatever it is, that song is awesome, and then it's enough for the listener to ascribe their own meaning to it. And it's just one of those songs that they just go for the blatant menace and aggression. It's just there at the foreground. There's no polish for that. And it's a nice standout mid-piece to the album. The song in itself is cool, but just where it's placed in the album is fucking great. And I think that's the type of song that Marilyn Manson's been wanting to do for the last 20 years. Because the video kind of reminded me more of a Manson video than a Ghost video, because you don't have the typical Ghost makeup. I know he's changed images recently, but it's just got that aggression that Manson used to have from the Antichrist Superstar days. It's just, he doesn't really do that anymore. I thought that was very cool. The previous album, Prequel, that was okay. I was starting to warm up to this band when we reviewed that. Some songs on that were cool. Others were just, I'm losing it. But, this one's fucking great. I try and avoid seeing reviews and stuff, but it's all over Facebook. You can't not see this. And it seems to be very divisive amongst long-term fans. Some people think it's the best thing they've ever done. Other people say they've lost it and completely gone. And listening to it, my first couple listens, I'm like, this is going to divide fans, because what I do know of the band is very different. And no wonder I like it, because a lot of people hate it. And I tend to like the albums that people hate. So I've been backpacking a bit on Ghosts recently. I jumped on YouTube, and this is very different to Secular Haze and From the Pinnacle to the Pit. Very different. But from what I know about Prequel, it's been a journey. And if you've been there for the journey, you probably understand this album a lot more than if you've just been a casual fan. I do have a lot more backtracking to do. And, like a good band, especially a theatrical band, they can't do the same thing over and over. They need to keep reinventing. The opening song, Kazarian, when that came on, I thought I'd accidentally put The Darkness on. It's got that upbeat vibe, and it's got that falsetto scream. I'm like, fuck, is this Ghost or is this The Darkness? But there's a lot of very cool guitar solos on here, which kind of surprised me a bit. But they're very well thought out. Lots of melody and some shred moments. Spillway, Call Me Little Sunshine, Watcher in the Sky, all got great solos.
Yeah,
Watcher in the Sky, I like. It's very poppy, that one, but you can you get the whole God reference of what they're taking in with that. But that song actually made me very nostalgic for Spotlights. We don't searchlights. We don't see them in as much as you did in the 80s, man. And the 80s was cool for many things. Searchlights was one of them. But I thought the little ballad towards the end, Darkness at the Heart of My Love, I thought that was very cool. And very, very nicely arranged song too. They got barely coherent whispering just after the solo. That reminded me of like the 80s controversy of hidden messages in metal songs. It's a nice little touch to put in because it touched a lot of buttons back then. And to bring that back, this band gets presented and written off as just being like a pop band that wants to be evil, but they know how to use the evil in a subtle way. And the cool thing about that is these songs are so catchy that you'll be having the lyrics stuck in your head, and all of a sudden you realize, fuck, that's not a very nice topic. It's an earworm, and you're just like, whoa, those lyrics are quite brutal. Great structure to the album. I like the short little lead-in tracks. You go Imperium, Dump Dominion, and Bite the Passage. They lead into it. So instead of going extended intro, they're a separate track. Lots of hooks, lots of cool pop ideas and choruses. But whether you like this band or not, it's undeniable they know how to write a cool, catchy song. I get this 9 out of 10. This is definitely the best thing they've ever done. Call Me Little Sunshine, Hunter's Moon, 20s, Spillways, Darkness at the Heart of My Love, and Griftwood are my standouts. But it's just such an easy album to listen to over and over.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, it won Dave over. Tim, you're a more longer fan like I am. How did it go for you?
Oh, I loved it. I was going to say, look, because, this is what I want to hear from Ghost. I want to hear Ghost pushing the boundaries of each new release. This is definitely this one. And what I was going to say with this is I'm not sure if this is the place. I don't know if this is the place for people to start with Ghost if you haven't gotten into them or not. Because while it is a bit quirky and a bit weird, again, because they're a band that does push the boundaries of each release, whether or not this is the right place to start, but because it is a little bit quirky and a bit weird, there are going to be people who hear it and gravitate towards it instantly.
Yeah.
Like Dave, as we've just seen with Dave.
Yeah.
So I do find that quite interesting. But again, because it is a bit quirky and a bit weird, and because it's a band that, I want to see them adding things and exploring their songwriting style while still sounding like Ghost.
Yeah.
I find there's two general responses, and I think both of them are true. And that is, I've seen people who've not liked it, and then a few days later loved it.
Yeah.
And then I've seen people who loved it, and then a few days later loved it even more.
Yeah.
And I think that's the general gist. I think like this album is so good that I can't comprehend not liking it. Like, it's just at that point. Like, I think they're a freakishly good band. I'm just going to be rehashing a lot of what Dave said.
Yeah.
They know how to write melodies. They know how to write songs. And I mean, while it is poppy with a dark image, that's what makes it cool because, like, so many bands at the moment. There's a lot of bands at the moment where, the goal is to be as heavy as humanly possible, and and that's what makes it cool is that they've gone and done the exact opposite of that, but still push the boundaries of what it means to be a hard rock band, which is, the most metal thing they could possibly do. I think it's just stunning. Melodies for days, groove for days, lyrics for days. Like I said, I'm just rehashing stuff.
Yeah.
But I actually don't know what to give it. I want to give it a 10, but I don't know if I can give 10s out. That's fine. But you know what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But yeah, Still Away, Call Me Little Sunshine, Hunter's Moon, like pick out tracks. But I mean, I think the best way to listen to this album is just to listen to start to finish, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
It's just a cracking album.
I'm going to try not to rehash too much what you guys have said because I fucking love this one too. I'm a huge fan of this band. I'm not going to fucking sit there and try and hide or deny it. I'm incredibly, probably biased, but fuck it. They've earned that from me with the album Prequel, especially, but not only that, before that too. They've had a couple of albums of the year for me. So these guys are right up there as far as I'm concerned. The funny thing is that it's what Tim mentioned about how people, sort of weren't as sold in the beginning and then grew to love it. This is one of those records for me. After going from, I put Prequel like fucking way, way up. That's a Desert Island kind of record for me. So, and it's not a knock on the band. It's like that's always going to be hard to follow up if someone's expectations are set that high. So the bar is there. So for me, the first listens were great. I enjoyed it, but it was like, okay, cool. But then you sit down with it and you listen to it properly and you actually invest the time and the effort. Another cool thing I did with this one too is that I went and just I just went to Spotify, I put Ghost on shuffle. And you really, when you do that, get the evolution of this band over the years. And this album is the perfect next step. It makes perfect sense. It is the natural evolution of a band that is exploring and doing things. You get that wail, like Dave mentioned at the start of Kaisarian. That is just what they've never had that before from these guys. That was just what? It's just like that was unexpected and a great surprise. Same thing too with 20s. That's probably one of their most aggressive songs, if not the most aggressive song they've ever done. It's blunt, it's in your face, there's profanity. It's just a blunt force instrument. It's not the heaviest thing in the world, but for these guys, it is. And you've got this operatic side and then this really grunty, ballsy side, and they are really coloring in so much more of the spectrum now with what they are capable of, which is what Tim was saying before, is that you want to hear Ghost, but Ghost are always pushing things, so you want to actually hear them push things. And that's what this band has done with this record.
They're a long way from Stand By Him.
Yeah.
At this point,
Yeah, definitely. Even go back to any of the first album, they're a long way from that. But when you listen to you put the band on just shuffle, you hear it all, and
you hear the growth.
Yeah, it all fits. None of this is. They've taken a long journey from the first album to this one, but it's rare to find a band that actually puts it together so well. Usually,
it's as if they wrote 10 albums in one go.
Yeah, and
are releasing a storybook.
Yeah, that's actually
it's scary how good they are.
Yeah, it's one of those things where just the talent, the ability, all those things are just wonderfully on display. And it's really hard to put into words. I've got a note. I'm going to go back and forth on my notes here. I've put that this band for me is the classic rock band of this generation. If you like classic rock at all, this is the band of our generation, because Tobias, the main writer, is, I think, a year older than Dave and myself. We're all peers. And this generation, this is the band of the classic rock genre. It has all the throwbacks. It pushes new boundaries. I'm completely converted on this band. But the way they've done little things on this too, there's so much detail in the mix, the composition, the piano, the guitar, the other elements all take center stage for different times. There's nice panning on this. There's a lot of ear candy on this one too. So production-wise, phenomenal work across the board. And there's some great tones as always. And the vocals, the harmonies, my God. The harmonies make this band. That's what makes them stand out from so many others. The vocal layering in the harmonies, the way they have a big band sound. They do things like use saxophone and all these other instruments that are oh, hang on, but fuck, they just use it all so well. There's a little prog moment in Kazarian which put me in mind of Rush. That progressive little moment there, Dave, for all of 10 seconds. was such a cool little addition to that song toward the back end of it. Storytelling is fantastic on this one. Writing is amazing. Hooks for days. The melodies are there too. Nothing about this is tiring to listen to. Call Me Little Sunshine is such an insidious, dark, nasty little fucking track. That I love it. It's one of my favorite tracks in this band. The lower notes, the use of the organ in it, they always do things differently, and that's what this song. Like, you haven't had a song that's been quite this low in register and tone before this one, and I think it suits so damn well. It's a long way from Rats. It's just so different to that. But it's just as infectious, if that makes sense. Like, Rats is catchy as fuck. I reckon Call Me Little Sunshine is just as catchy, but it's just a completely different vibe. Hunter's Moon is great. The interlude Dominion is great on this one too. That little halfway mark where you're turning from side A to B is perfect. And sticking that between Watcher in the Sky and 20s was a perfect touch too. Watcher in the Sky is the perfect, sort of way to close out things. Like, and then 20s is just pure aggression. Like, fuck. And the solo in the kids choir in 20s was fucking great as well. Like, there's so much little detail in this one as well. There's the fade out from Watchers in the Sky was such a great moment. You can hear and see mentally how that song's going to play out visually on stage. Like, you go and see, like, these guys live are phenomenal. My God. But the way they have, you can imagine with, Watchers in the Sky, that the searchlight's going across the crowd and into the roof of the building like that. You just, if you've seen the band, you'll know exactly what they'll do with that. And it'll go off. It'll look fucking great. I want to hear this on vinyl because I reckon that whole experience of flipping from side A to B is perfectly done on this record, just the way the instrumentals are placed and that. Darkness at the Heart of My Love. I'm surprised that you really enjoy that one, Dave. Not in a bad way, but it's just that you nominated that as like a more interesting track to you, because the way that's put together, it's by any other band, it could almost be a pop song. Do you know what I mean? It's got such a radio-friendly sort of touch to it.
Yeah.
That they've just executed it so fucking well. Griftwood is great. It's just, and that little interlude, Bites of Passage for all of 90 seconds, was great. And that closes, the album closes a respite of the Spiderfields. That was fantastic. That's a great closing track. It leaves you wanting more. And this album is another, complete piece from start to finish. I fucking adore this one. I know, Tim, you weren't quite confident in giving it a 10 out of 10 yet, but I'm giving it a 10. I'm just going to go straight there. This will be a top 10 contender at the end of the year for sure. So 10 out of 10. Like Dave said, listen to this one. Tim said, listen to this from start to finish. It is well worth taking in its entirety. If the band hasn't hooked you so far, this might be a good place to start. And then you can work back and make sense of the journey in reverse. But at the same time, just check it out. Anything. I love this band. So I got this 10 out of 10. Call Me Little Sunshine, Hunter's Moon, Watcher in the Sky. But there's no dud moments. This is just a fantastic fucking release. So get onto it. There we go. Hello, Nala. Oh, she's come in to say hello. Alrighty. Some quick comments here. Then we've got one more review, and then we'll get out of here tonight. So going back a bit. So Shotgun Mistress, Tim. They've gone, what a surprise, legends. Thank you for the feedback and the kind words. Can't wait to see you all for a beer in 2022. Looking forward to that as well. Hope all is well with you guys. Cool. Also, any Arcane Saints concerts coming up at all? Funnily enough, the Electric Mary Boys put me onto your new stuff. They're big fans. So there you go, Tim.
Yeah, cheers. Nothing in the works at the moment, unfortunately. We're all we're all a bit all over the place and haven't seen each other in a while. We don't actually have a bass player at the moment either. So, but I mean, look, if the right gig comes along, we have plenty of people willing to fill in. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I can guarantee you that when you do get a gig, we'll plug it for sure for you guys. Yeah. So there we go. That will happen definitely. All right, on to Ghost. Sally says, in general, not a Ghost fan, but what I have listened to on this album, I sort of like. I'm surprised by it. So this could be a sneaky sort of gateway kind of record. Tuffy says, good track and catchy as always, but I prefer the heavier tracks like Cerise and Square Hammer. Fair enough. If you like the heavier tracks, check out 20s. I said I would listen to this band if they were not satanic. The satanicness of this band is a strict no-go for me, and that's fair enough. Everyone's got their different choices in that regard. Basher says, grew up with Black Sabbath and Alice Cooper in the 70s, and Ghost is the nearest to them. Thanks for the reviews. Looking forward to my purchase of this album. Love to eventually see them live. You won't be disappointed. They're fucking fantastic. Darren says, the melodic riff on Call Me Little Sunshine is just magic. It's so catchy. I have that on constant repeat. I can't get tired of that song. I really can't get tired part of that song. Rowan says, this will be my next purchase. Awesome. That's what I like to hear. And Nicole says, not a band I listen to, but I've seen them live. We'll always go to see them live, just not buy a record. Does that make sense? They're a different band live. They are into. I know Dave hasn't seen them, but Tim, did you see them at all? Or
I saw them on their second album.
Okay, yep. What was that
they
like?
Played festival here.
Mm.
Yeah, we're long way from their headline slot, but incredible nonetheless.
Yeah, they're a band that if you go and see them, it's a different experience. It's not the same as the record. They are just a different beast live.
They have an interesting charisma to them.
Yeah,
that makes them impossible not to watch.
Yeah, and they're flawless. Like they just it's precision. Like it's almost like a theater show kind of thing. Like it's phenomenal to watch these guys do what they do live. It's just so well done. Everything about this band, from production to writing to recording to albums and then live, is just all that attention to detail, and you can just see it. But it's not the stick in the mud kind, if that makes sense. There's a feel and organicness to it. It's just well rehearsed and well done. Like they just nail it. Phenomenal. On that note, Michael says their recent festival slot here was very entertaining. That was brilliant. And Darren says Ghost would have.
I still maintain I am okay with watching Slayer.
I don't blame you at all. I don't blame you at all for sticking around watching Slayer, but I had seen them before and I had seen enough and I wanted to move on.
I've seen plenty of Slayer before too, but
I know, but you're more of a diehard fan than I am. But it
was that I'm never going to see Slayer again after that.
Yeah, I get it, but I wanted to see Ghost for the first time, so I went and did that, and I am not disappointed either. So there we go.
I feel sorry for Hailstorm, though.
Yeah, they were wedged, weren't they? But I will be fair though. I did check out a couple of songs of theirs, and they didn't. I love Hailstorm, but they didn't do themselves any favors by comparison to Slayer or Ghost. Like I saw Slayer.
It's a death slot though. Like it is going up against the two.
You're not going to win it, but it's like. But when you've got that slot and you're spending a lot of time noodling and talking versus kicking ass and taking names, not helping your cause.
That's fine. Like I don't know what Ghost looked like, but I remember seeing I was at the very front of Slayer.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing a photo from like way back at the back of the field, and like the whole field is covered while they were playing.
Mm.
And it's like I'm assuming Ghost would be packed out as well. I'm like, how many people watched Hailstorm?
Not as many as you think, probably. So
yeah.
there was people there for sure.
Exactly. There'd be the people who are like, let's go watch. That looks too full.
Yeah. No, the tent for Ghost was packed, fucking jammed. That was great. Here's a good one. Darren says Ghost have to play the Forum in Melbourne just for the atmosphere. That would be fucking fantastic. In that setting,
yeah, good spot for them.
That is perfect. That's a good call, Darren. Good call. And Nicole says they're amazing live. Even if you're not a fan, you'll like them live. Trust me. And I do agree with that. If you're not sold on the records, just go and see them live. It's a completely different experience. Where King Parrot is an experience, these guys are an experience, just not the same one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, different type of experience.
Yeah. There are certain bands you have to see live to get it. And King Parrot's one. Ghost is possibly another one too.
It's a bit of the Slipknot effect.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I still didn't have the opposite effect for me live, but yeah.
Yeah. You weren't the target demographic for that album.
No, I wasn't the target.
Like if you saw them now, you'd love it.
Mm. And I buy that. I actually buy into that. Yes, because we did the special and I loved them after that. So it's one of those things. Just at that time, no, I wasn't the target demographic. You're dead right. All right. We got one more to do. Let's go on to the classic album for this week, which is a bit of AC/DC. So for your reference out there, folks, in the comments, it's in the description box. This is AC/DC. For those about the rock live, that is the reference track for this one live from 91. I think it's from Donington or Edmonton. Take your pick. But anyway, it ends with an N. But anyway, it says AC/DC live is our final review for the night. So, here we go. Here we go. This is what I was waiting for. Dean, you're still here. Good. So, Dean gone. You guys are going to hate me with the info I got on this. I hope you'll get something out of it. Cracking live album. I've got the two versions of this. Rest in peace.
Hey, let us know, man. That's what we don't know everything here, man.
That's what this is all about. Now, I told Dave before when Tim was behind schedule, but I told Dave that I was trying to get Dean in on the stream for this one, but he wasn't keen on getting involved. So I encourage you, Dean, to give us anything and everything you've got in the comments. So I'll try and catch up to it when we get through the review, but please do give us everything that we love. I know how big of a diehard fan you are of this band, so anything and everything you want to share, go nuts. This is all for you. This is our Patreon choice review for this week. Dean's one of those people that voted for it a lot, so that's why it's getting the nod this week. But anyway, the first track is AC/DC. For those about to rock, we're going to get stuck into the final review of the evening. This is AC/DC Live. 14 tracks, 70 minutes for the original edition, 23 songs, 132 minutes for the collector's edition. Second live album from the Australian band, released October 1992 by Albert and Atco. Produced by Bruce Fairbairn. This is a collection of songs taken from 1991 shows in Canada, England, Russia, and Scotland. Though there were no singles, with this one, there was a video version released. The album peaked at number 15 in the US, number 5 in the UK, number 1 here in Australia, with a bunch of top 30s across Europe and New Zealand. It's gone on to repeat chart numerous times and has been certified 5 times platinum in the US, gold in the UK, 8 times platinum in Australia, along with multi-platinum, platinum, or gold in 6 other countries. This is this week's Patreon choice album. So if you want your say, join our Patreon group. I will share a link to that later on. And that way you get to vote on these reviews that we do each and every week. We're going to go to the randomizer to see who gets first draw on this one. And it's Tim this time around.
All right. Now, do you know why this album does so well? Is because it's a good album.
Yeah.
It's made like.
Sorry, that's
but here's the thing. There are 2 types of live albums. There are those where they've just stuck a thing at the back and oh yeah, fuck it, let's release it.
Yeah.
And there are those where they actually put an effort into it and make it a proper release. And this is one of those. Yeah. And those are the ones that do really well. And this is one of those. Again, I find it remarkable that this is recorded over all different shows because it sounds quite seamless throughout.
Yeah.
So they've done an excellent job with that, mixing the crowd together. Again, good crowd noise throughout. This band sounds fucking phenomenal. The set list is fantastic as well. And again, it is the set list that you would sort of get from that era of shows. They've not tried to, mix it up too much.
Yeah.
For a release, they've tried to keep it true to a live thing. And the other thing is too is AC/DC records. I don't want to call them stiff, but they have a thing to them. They have a predictable swing to them.
Yep.
And when you hear them in this context, there's a little more room to move and a little more room to play. A lot of that is Chris Slade.
Yeah.
Instead of Phil Rudd. Granted, I think Phil Rudd kicks the shit out of everyone. In some cases, too literally.
Well, yes, but you're not alone in that, by
the way. We shouldn't joke about that. We shouldn't joke about that.
No, but it's funny at the same time.
Yeah, look, it's just a really well put together album, but that's the thing. And the thing is, too, the band sounds great. The band sounds fantastic at this point, and it's amazing to think that they've been going for almost 20 years at this point as well, and that they're still going now. They still sound pretty good too. So, yeah, good bands do good things. Who'd have thought?
It's a simple formula, isn't it?
It's a simple formula, and again, it's relatively long. But again, because of that, it does give you that proper, authentic, full live experience that you would have gotten there. Like, there's a proper headline set. They've not shaved bits off it to appease the listening thing. So yeah, I think it's great. As my thing just goes. Highlights. I actually really love the rendition of "Shoot to Thrill" on here, just because I think that's a great live song. Also, "Hell's Bells." I thought they played those two particularly well. 8.5 out of 10. But again, one of those AC/DC albums that I think if you think the albums can get a little bit repetitive, put this one on, because the reason this band has lasted so long is because they do have really good songs, and for as well loved as this band is, sometimes they can be a little bit underrated because they have that reputation of doing the tried and true formula.
Yeah, yep. That joke about Malcolm Young, correcting how many albums they've done of the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Classic.
But I mean, if you're in their position, I mean,
why wouldn't you?
At the same time, I mean, if they'd done something different, people would complain about that as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so. Who May Who as well, because that's an underrated track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what'd you give it?
8.5.
Okay. Cool. Alrighty. So that's you wrapped, yeah?
Yep.
All right. Dave, over to you.
Cool. This album is very, very nostalgic for me. I can remember when it came out. The single version, the double version, and the VHS of Dollington. And yeah, it was in 91. I was 11. I was in grade 6. And the break in between year 6 and starting high school, that summer, listened to this album constantly. The CD got a big workout, and the video was just played repetitively over and over. It was probably the first stadium show I ever saw on any format.
Yeah.
I've never been to a concert at that age. So yeah, AC/DC was my induction into big stadium rock. I fucking loved it.
I'm glad this one, man. This is cool.
Yeah. At the time, rock and roll ruled the world. AC/DC were on a massive success from Razor's Edge. And yeah, it just indoctrinate into being a young kid who loves rock and roll. But
quick note, Razor's Edge, underrated album.
Oh, I fucking love that. Yeah. So good.
Anyway, sorry.
Mainly it was my first AC/DC album. Actually, no. Blow Up Your Video was my first AC/DC album.
Okay. Yep.
But yeah, I remember enjoying Heatseeker on this a lot. I love Blow Up Your Video, but just there's something about this version. I mean, the band is totally on fire. And I think some of that comes down to Chris Slade on drums. He's just got that extra urgency with his playing. It's thunderous, and the tempo is just a bit more.
He's more of a traditional drummer.
He's more direct, yeah.
He just pounds the skins, and Razor's Edge is the live version on this. It's just got that extra little bit that you don't get from the studio albums. And I've always preferred hearing songs live, whether it's a bootleg or it's a professional album or it's just a cheaply thrown together thing. Just says that live energy. I mean, comparing it to Live After Death from Maiden, that was my first time hearing Maiden. Go back to studio albums and they're good. You just don't have that extra energy. And this was also my first time hearing a singer perform another singer's songs. At 11, once I heard Razor's Edge and bought Thunderstruck, between me and my mate, we bought the entire catalog on cassette. Well, I didn't have, he had, we taped it for each other, so we had everything. So we were massive AC/DC fans. And hearing Brian perform the Bond songs, just like, these are cool. The band's performances are different. They're like 10 years apart. Started that lifetime debate over who does the songs better, who's better. But, fuck. At 42 years old, I can say they're both awesome. You get the best of both worlds if you just consume the entire catalog of what they released. And, speaking of catalogs, they never really did a compilation album apart from Iron Man soundtrack. But if you wanted the best of, you grab a live album. And this is easily one of the best live albums any band has ever done. Yeah. And, as Tim said, fantastic set list, very like a document of your AC/DC show. But between this and the Let There Be Rock movie that they released with Bon Scott, you get the band at two different points, two fantastic shows, two different types of shows, one in a smaller venue, one in a stadium. And they're both fantastic for different reasons. And, when you're doing a stadium show, you've got a much bigger stage. You have to run around. Do a smaller show, you can just pack that energy into an 80-minute performance. And between Bon and Angus is just fucking headbanging like a mad motherfucker, and he's just dripping sweat. You get that paced a little bit in a stadium show because you can't run around the stadium for on a stadium set for 2 hours. You have to pace it. But different energy, different shows, different points in the band's career. But I could not pick a favorite between the two. But the cool thing about this is you get a hell of a lot of audience interaction. You got extended versions of Jailbreak, the Jack, High Voltage, Let There Be Rock. It's just simple fun for the crowd to get behind, and the band just always knew how to do that. He picked the right songs, I think, to get the crowd interaction with. Yeah, as Tim, you both mentioned, it's taken from a single show because that you get the crowd fade in and out at the start of the tracks, which is a little bit distracting, but it's a small complaint. But I just prefer that even flow. But overall, it's 9 out of 10 easily, and I cannot pick standouts. It's the ultimate AC/DC package. So start to finish, 2 discs. I've never heard the single disc version. It was all or nothing from this band. So
cool.
2 disc CD, or the Donington VHS, or DVD these days, streaming or whatever the fuck. But it's cool. 9 out of 10.
Nice. I haven't got a lot more to add. To be brutally honest, I did listen to both versions of this. So for mine, the shorter version I think flows a bit better just as a standalone listen. But that said, I don't want to sacrifice some of the cuts you get from the double disc because they're fucking fantastic. Like the Razor's Edge alone is worth it for me. So you're caught, twist in between when it comes to that sort of stuff because you want it all kind of thing. You want one that sort of flows really well, but you want the other one that gives you everything. So, you're not going to go wrong either way, whether it's the standard edition or the collector's edition. It's going to be a fucking cracking album. Normally with Dave, you mentioned and I've brought it up before, that the cobbled together, quote unquote, nature of this, where it's, different performances, different nights, different venues, different countries. And they fade in, fade out. Those sorts of ones, I think Tim mentioned this before, normally they're not done that well. This one is executed brilliantly. Bruce Fairbairn deserves a hell of a fucking lot of credit for the way this has come up. The crew on the sites, the way they captured the sound, the way it's going to be mixed. This sounds seamless. If you didn't know, you could think this is all the same show. This sounds fucking mint. Production thing on the band are tight as all fuck. I know that Chris Slade is not Rudd, but what he does bring to that band is he brings that directness, which gives the rest of the band a bit more room to play, if that makes sense, because Rudd sort of plays with the beat and the swing a bit more. Having some bit more direct allows the other ones to go a little bit off script. And that works well for these guys. Malcolm's always tight. He's always on the money anyway. So you get Angus gets a bit more room to go a bit wild. Brian Johnson's well served in that space as well. Not that he's the most flamboyant, but he just knows how to use that energy to his advantage in that space. And I think Cliff actually does a pretty good job under there as well, because Malcolm becomes the mainstay along with Slade. And then, all the elements get to play a little bit. And that has just worked really, really well on this tour. And this is, if you saw one tour in your life, this would be one of the ones you want to go on because it's just fucking phenomenal. It's so well put together. It literally kicks off and closes with a bang. I mean, for those about to rock is one hell of a closing track to anything ever. It's a phenomenal way to wrap things up. The only critique I've really got of this one is that, I know that they were a highlight for you, Dave, those crowd interaction, really drawn out moments that stretch songs are from 3 minutes to 12 kind of thing. Mm-hmm. I think they're great live. I don't know if they're quite as good on a live record because you're not there in the moment. But that's a me thing, not a general comment on it, if that makes sense. Everyone's going to be different on that one. But it's the smallest fucking critique. It's really not a critique at all. It's just a personal taste thing. I can listen to it. This is one of those albums where if you put this on in the background, you could play it on repeat all day long and not get tired of it at all. If you're working on a car or fucking cleaning the house or whatever you're doing, you could just put this on and it's a all-day drinking album as well. It's one of those ones where you can do anything and everything to this album and it will not be tiring at all. What I loved about the live setting in particular was hearing Malcolm and Angus being so tight. They are literally, the brothers are so tight on the guitar, it's nuts. To hear this live and go, fuck, they were that in tune or dialed into each other. It's insane how tight. Not a single thing was off. Not a single thing. And that's just remarkable. fuck, I don't know. I think Brian did a good job with the Bond stuff, to be honest. I think that he does enough to do it his own way, but he also stays faithful to the originals. I think that he does a really great service to those songs, and it's a good thing they did find a way to make that work, unlike what we got with Van Halen, for example, because those songs are so good, you wouldn't want them to not be played live and not get a record like this. And like Dave said, this is the perfect greatest hits compilation from these guys. If you call it that, this is the best way to do it. So this is really, really cool. If you like the band at all, fucking get onto it. If you haven't already, you should have by now, surely. But yeah, this is just great. A fantastic album from start to finish. For the collector's edition, I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. For the original or the shorter edition, I would give it a 9 out of 10 because I listened to both. The standout tracks, Hell's Bells, Highway to Hell, For Those About to Rock, and The Razor's Edge. Hearing some of those deeper cuts ones were just fucking great. That's why I wouldn't sacrifice the collector's edition because, yeah, there are some great deeper cuts in that one. Heat Seeker is a fucking belter as well. Like, the energy on this is fucking so infectious. So infectious. It's a great, great live record. One of the better ones out there for sure, if not one of the best of all time. This is really, really incredibly well done. If you haven't checked it out, please do unfuck that and get onto this one today. Alrighty, we got a lot of comments here, most of them from Dean, so I'm going to quickly scroll back through it. I'll get a little more educated about this one while we go through it. And I'm glad you were here for this one, Dean. I love getting the passion from people on this one as well. Alrighty, here we go. Quickly back onto the Ghost stuff and how Tim mentioned Slipknot. Nicole said Slipknot not my bag, but they were great live too. So there's another band, like Tim said, just going back to that one there to close that circle off. All right, so Basher says on AC/DC, great album, love it, awesome. All right, Dean, it was filmed on the 17th of August, 1991, in front of 72,500 fans at the Monsters of Rock Festival, which was filmed in 35mm Panavision and had 26 cameras and included one situated inside a helicopter. He's gone all out, nice. Quickly taking a break, Metalhead Fox, AC/DC Live, absolutely awesome, pretty much flawless. My second fave live album after Iron Maiden's Live After Death. Good two choices there. That should be a nice little battle. We should do like a unique little one-off battle between those two albums. That would be tough. Back to our earlier conversation, Rowan says, AC/DC, I didn't expect to see a country, scat, jazz, electronica band on here. Well played, Rowan. Well played. Okay, back to Dean's notes. The line for the festival was AC/DC, Metallica, Motley Crue, Queensryche, and the Black Crowes.
No.
The audio was used for the Harmonix game AC/DC Live Rock Band Track Pack on Wii, which was a success for the band for the younger generation to get into the band. Made bands like Metallica do their own Guitar Hero a year later.
Cool.
Released October 27, 1992. Two versions were released, one containing a single CD with the second version being a double album on LP and a CD known as AC/DC Live 2 CD Collector Edition. VHS dates was 26 October 1992, 3rd November 2003 on DVD, and 16th of October 2007 on Blu-ray. Peak number 1 in Australia as well, with the collector's edition peaking number 44. In the ARIA Awards was 8 times platinum, selling 560,000 units. With the USA, it was a 3 times platinum, selling a massive 3 million, and the collector's edition for the US peaking at 2 times platinum with 2 million copies sold. First time Malcolm played with Mesa Boogie cabs as well, after being known for using Marshall cabs. There was a change there too. Chris Slade said it was a landmark night and filming in front of a landmark event with the lads. It was the best guitar tone I've heard from Malcolm ever. Angus had to rehearse where to go during the song Jailbreak as the stage wasn't 100% stable and missing some flooring, had to jump over a few times during the show. Wow.
Rock and roll, man.
Hey?
It's all rock and roll.
It is. Lars Ulrich was side of stage that night and we watched AC/DC every night on their tours together. He was mesmerized every night, seeing them, wanted how they could do a 2.5-hour set every night. Conrad here says, I watched some of this live on a big screen at the AC/DC exhibition at the National Art Gallery in Melbourne. It was killer. That would have been a fucking great experience.
That was
cool. Viking Girl, I got a crash. Great show all around once again, fellas. And Tim, I reckon I've come up with a new fave tracks from your new fave album, Fade Into You, Wildfire, and Low. Awesome stuff, Night All. There we go.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
I know you've already gone, but thank you for joining us. I'm glad you enjoyed the show tonight. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. Dean has more. After this tour, Razor's Edge album They met up with Phil Rudd for the first time since 1983, and Phil Rudd was back within a year. Malcolm said it was one of our best shows we ever played. By the third song, we were locked in and were riding this wave till the very end for those about to rock with the kids. Kids with tears in their eyes while Angus was doing the solo and Let There Be Rock was a moment while Angus joked that it's the people who wanted the refund. What do we got here? Dean also said, I think I'm done. Killed you guys enough. Sorry to be so passionate about them, especially since Mel going.
All good, man.
Fucking love it. Bring it on. I reckon it's fantastic. Seeing people get this fired up about any band at all, whether they agree with us or not, is what it's all about. It's a passion project. Fucking let it out. I love it. Dean also said Razor's Edge is underrated. I think so too. Darren said great stuff, Dean. So there we go. A little bit of love there for that. Dean said, you wouldn't know it was recorded in different countries unless you went looking. Mike Fraser had something to do with it on mastering too and been with the band ever since, which is nice. Tuffy mentioned Iron Maiden's Live After Death. I wore both those cassettes out, so there we go. But Dean said, told you so. Sorry. No need to be sorry at all. Fucking love it. And he also said, Heat Seeker, what a tune, especially with Fire Your Guns, those two back-to-back. Yeah. That's a great 1-2 punch on this one. But there we go. We finally got there in the end. We got it all done. So now I'll do a quick little wrap-up because I'm assuming we're all getting ready to go to bed and do some other stuff for whatever time there is left in the day today. So make sure you check out everything here for yourself. There's links and descriptions and all sorts of shit in the description box. So go and hit the links, check it out, give us your thoughts as we go along. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, all the usual shit that everyone gets you to do. I know it's the same old, but we're no different. Anything you can do interacting with us online is a great help to us. And a big thank you, of course, to our fantastic sponsors in Squiddy, Scripting, Alt, Cult, and Rockstar Finance. Their details, just like all of ours, are in the description box. Please find them, give them a like, a follow, a share, anything like that. It's always appreciated. It helps them, which helps us. It all goes round and round and round. So please do get amongst it. Big thank you to some patrons here. We got Tim Caterson, Sonia Donabella, Lee McDonald, Bell Wright, Conrad Collins, Jason Winch, Brendan Ellison, 16x9, Marty Powell, Sam Biondo, Trash Vegas, Carolyn Mallet, Gwyneth Richards, Andrew Hammond, Daniel Bateman, and Man Family. Thank you so much for your fantastic support. If you'd like to get amongst it, which is anything to do with daily updates on the show, new music coming into your inbox directly from us. What else have we got? We've got voting on things like the classic album that we're doing here tonight. We're doing these every week as well, so get involved in the voting. And we're also introducing giveaways. But before I get to that, in the comments, it's also in the description box, and in the comments, I'm putting a link to our Patreon page. Any help you can give us in that platform, it's just literally the smallest one is like $2 a month, 50 cents a week. If you can help us out, it's greatly, greatly appreciated. It goes towards us and helping us to get more done here behind the scenes. I'm going to bring back giveaways into the context. So next month, we'll do our first one. In the first week, we'll do a draw, and the winner gets to choose between getting one of these custom steins. The lighting isn't great anymore, but I've got a few of these left. So I've got some custom glass steins from our THRS End of Year Extravaganza. Limited edition steins there. That's my personal one, number 13. But there are a few around. I've got maybe 10 left somewhere. So the winner gets to choose between that, or I'm going to put an order in for one of the ginger Ukrainian T-shirt things. I'm going to put an order in for that, so they can choose either a glass stein, or I'll put a T-shirt order in for them as well, and we'll get a winner picked out at the beginning of next month. So get amongst our Patreon page. It'll be a random draw just from people in that platform, but you get to choose your prize out of the two options there, and we'll see how things go with that. So that's just a bit more incentive to get amongst it and have some fun with us there as we go along. Our next special, we got the Armored Saint ones is still in the works. We're also doing a Beatles versus Stones one soon as well. The Deep Cuts content is going to be different game as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on online, so make sure you are keeping up to date with us. But this week on Thursday night, 10 p.m. Oh, that's tonight, isn't it? Shit, it's already gone. Well, it was. It's still going, I think, for half an hour. Channel 44 in Adelaide, we're on every Thursday night at 10 p.m. Australian Central Time. This week was the moon-themed episode. Next week will be the drinking songs, which is what's actually coming up on Channel 31 on Saturday night, 10:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Time. So that's a whole lot of fun there coming up for you on your TV screens. We're back again next Wednesday night with our next stream. We'll have a classic album, an Aussie album, and a couple of new ones as well. And that's what's coming up next week. For those that want to get in touch with us, all right, if you want to submit something or whatever else, email is the best way to do it. That is the thing. I do all the behind-the-scenes stuff, so all the editing, all the content, all the fucking communication. That's all through me. So if you want to get in touch, the best way to do it is via email. It's in the description box. It's also in the comments now. The THRS email is media@thehardrockshow.com. That's the best way to get a hold of us because that's the one I pay attention to the most. That is the important one that I stick to. And if you haven't heard from me in a relative time frame, then just feel free to just jog my memory now and then because there's a lot going on. So that's there as well. I think that's about it. We'll get to a bin in a second. What have we got here? One more from Dean. Dean says, quick note, Malcolm said when they played Moscow with the cannons, the audience thought they were going to shoot the crowd with everything happening in Russia at the time with the wall coming down. That's a good point there too, actually. Hadn't thought of that. Metalhead Fox says, good night, y'all. Thanks for a great show. And I think that's about it. Thank you for joining us. And Dean said it sounds good about the giveaways there as well. But as always, we have one final tradition to wrap things up with, and that is to go to the bin. Unless you guys have anything else you want to add, we're going to move on to the bin. Are we good to go to the bin?
We're good.
We're good. All right. Let's go to you first, Tim. What are you putting in the bin tonight?
I don't really know.
Happy man today, aren't you?
I am pretty happy, man. Actually, you know what I will put in the bin? People who how do I describe this? People who when you're driving, the light turns yellow. People who slam on the brakes when there's a car behind them.
Yeah.
Like you look in your mirror like before you do that shit because someone's gonna ram into the back of you.
Mm-hmm.
Be a general courteous driver.
Yes, Dave had a rant about driving the other day.
Yeah, especially at the moment when there's hot weather and a lot of rain about. Roads are very busy.
I'm scared.
Yeah, it's not overly safe to do that. All right, Dave, what about you?
Yeah, dieting. I recently turned 42, and after I turned 40, I went to the doctor and got my cholesterol checked and so forth. And done so when I was 41 and 42, and like 3 strikes you're out. My cholesterol is up. It's not going further up, but it's not coming down.
Wow.
So I got home. I was telling Julia about it, and she's like, "Oh, maybe it's time to cut back, not cut out, cut back on the barbecue shapes and the chips, and the ham sandwiches and the bacon." And I'm like trying to talk my way out of it. Just like, well, it's so fucking tasty, and I love it, and it's so good, and life is good.
Man, when you're isolating too.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But Jade walked in, my daughter. She says, "Daddy, do you want a heart attack?"
Oh, fuck.
Oh,
Brutal. I love your girl, mate. That is awesome.
So clever. And I can't argue with that.
No, you can't.
So, I decided it's time to cut back a little bit. Like I said, 3 strikes, you're out. But, the shitty thing about aging, everything you love and enjoy, if it becomes obsolete and replaced by something crap, or it becomes unhealthy for you. So, the whole idea of, getting regular checkups once I turn 40 was if they do find something, I can get on top of it. Everything else is cool. It's just my cholesterol. So, I'm going to cut back on some of the things I enjoy. Not cut out. I'm not like cutting my balls off and becoming vegan or anything like that. I'm still going to enjoy life, but I'm going to have to, cut back on things, which is shit.
There's half a box of barbecue shapes.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, I've been doing that. It used to be a box of barbecue shapes every night, pretty much. Then it became half the box. So I'm going to have to maybe count them. Maybe have 10 or something.
You get the school packs, man. You have one little bag a day.
That might work. I look at it this way. I still have hearing. I'm not deaf. I can still enjoy music. I can still see. I can enjoy movies. I can still get it up. But I can still enjoy sex. And my liver's not given up yet, so I can still enjoy alcohol. So I'm doing well.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the whole Trump mentality. If you don't get tested, you don't get results. So I just go to the doctor. I'm avoiding that like the plague. Men in my family don't go to the doctor often, so there's a bit of context there for everyone paying attention. Much to my the other members of our family, our sisters and daughters and all that sort of stuff, they're all looking at us going, "You're a bunch of fuckwits," and they're probably right. But we are who we are. All right, my bin, aside from that nonsense, is one a bit more serious. There were reports of people up north with the flooding going on up there, which we've all seen play out tragically. People that were left homeless, they lost all their possessions. Everything was gone. The only thing they managed to get over was their pet. Then they weren't able to take their pet with them due to certain quote-unquote fucking restrictions on housings and all that sort of stuff to go and get fucked with that. For these people to have only got out with their pet and then you want to separate them from their pet, that's all they've got because people don't want to have a fucking dog in the house. Get absolutely fucked with that. That is the dumbest fucking thing I've heard in a string of dumb things when it comes to this whole bloody response. That can go in the bin. And for a lighter note, what a wild 24 hours for Tom Morris it's been. In the bin, you fucking
my God.
In the bin, you fucking flog. Wow. Don't get me wrong, Bevo is a flog too, but he got beaten today by Morris with what came out. My fucking God. If you're paying attention to the footy media, you'll know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I'm not going to go into detail. It's a fucking mess. But Tom Morris can get in that fucking bin and he can never get out. Fuck that guy. It's amazing, isn't it, Tim?
It's quite a story.
Yeah, it definitely is. All right. Some quick comments here. What do we got here? So I said before, Metalhead Fox said, good night all. Thanks for a great show. Thank you for joining us. Basher, great show, boys. Thank you for joining us as well. Good to have you with us. Sally says, in the bin, people who park in your fucking driveway. Yes, that can...
Oh, who does that?
That's fucking wrong. Don't park in other people's driveways, folks. That's bullshit. Metalhead Fox says, I'm a truck driver. It's even more butt-puckering when someone slams on the brakes in front of you. Yes, I bet it is. I don't envy that.
I remember going back to Victoria Park back in the day and paying people to park in their driveway.
Mm-hmm. Hey, that's okay because you've made an arrangement. That's all right. But it's just random in the middle of fucking nowhere. That's just fucking dumb. Especially at school times. It happens a lot at school times. It's really yeah. It's bad form. Dean said, keep healthy and look after yourself, Dave. So there we go. Some nice words. To which Sally's replied, breakfast burritos, Dave. So
I am
not you can't get that DYG. That's just the staple.
Yeah. It's health food. They say it's health food.
Yeah.
Well, it's better than other fast food, that's for sure.
Yes.
Cool. Quickly here, my computer's actually running out of power, so I got to wrap up. Dean says, the bin, 3 known people in a week suffer a heart attack. Biggest blow, Warney, but Scott Hall suffering 3 heart attacks. Rest in peace. And Scott Hall is a big loss, as well as Warney. Both important people for their different respective fields, so our condolences to all around that one.
Not entirely different either.
No, not entirely different, which is a bit of an interesting one there.
Granted, let's be serious. Shane Warne was much better off than Scott Hall.
Yes.
But,
yeah.
You get the point.
But the thing is that Scott Hall's redemption arc is a lot better too. So, there we go. Dean said he didn't know about the pets thing, which is, uncommonly known, but it's a bullshit thing. Nicole said, truth. So many people are taking animals for people until they find a place to live. Again, it's a shit circumstance. Don't do that to them. Dean says, Tom Morris, oh fucking hell, how much time you got? Not enough tonight. We got to get out of here, but that's a fucking wild ride. And Mr. Dead over on YouTube saying, hello, fuckers, nice to meet you. Likewise to you. Yep. Make sure you go back and check out more of the show because we are getting out of here right about now. But I think that's it. We'll see you all again very, very soon. Make sure you keep following to keep up to date with us, with everything that's going on. But until next time, I'm Andrew.
I'm Dave.
Tim.
As always,
drink up.
Rock on.
And know your...